trust. It could hurt my love, y'all, but you really got the choice, but have some. We all fall down, never getting used to feel numb. It's getting hard to overcome some. Knowledge to be free from this gun. One shot and I'm down. Oh, I know that all is my fault. Never learn from it all, like a fastball in motion. I'm hoping, I thought that we had it all. Now I'm broken and scarred, and I'm scared of it all. No joking. Oh, no joking. Oh, I thought that we had it all. Now I'm broken and scarred, and I'm scared of it all. Oh, no joking. What do you really know about love? It's doing more discovering hurt us. Don't really have a choice but try on. We all fall down, never getting used to spite of all the times I have lost love. Getting out to overcome someone wrong, and I'm down. Oh, I know that all is my fault. Never learn from it all, like a fastball in motion. I'm hoping, I thought that we had it all. Now I'm broken and scarred, and I'm scared of it all. No joking. Oh, no
Welcome everyone to the Paladins Global Series. LaTigris here with Shift. Hey!
Hey! What up, girl?
Oh, you know, just chilling. About to cast some Paladins. So.
No, really?
Yeah, I know. It's such a surprise.
I thought this was the Smite scene.
Well, might have to go next door for
Later.
that one. But everyone, we are happy to bring you some EU action today as we are making our way through the Paladins Global Series phase. But of course, we have DreamHack that we're all looking forward to in November 16th through 18th. Buy your tickets now, highrisexpo.com, where we have our World Championship, our Console Wars, as well as our Smite content for their World Championship and console events.
Did you buy your tickets yet?
Oh, well, you know, I'm hoping that I just get to go otherwise. We'll see.
I don't know why you'd expect that. It's so strange. Like you work for the company or something.
You know, hopefully you'll be there as well.
I might have to pre-order my tickets. You never know these days.
It's always good to be safe,
Indeed.
everybody. But we're making our way, as we said, through the week with PGS and PPL. We had our console yesterday, and you actually got to cast some of that.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Man, console is always so much fun to watch simply because it's just so different from PC. And it kind of feels like just two big heavyweights are starting to throw punches at each other. There's no defense. Everyone just kind of throws everything they have at each other. It's just so explosive and fun to watch. I'm actually really excited for this week of this phase of the PGS too, because you get these kind of up-and-coming teams, these new teams, these guys that are trying to prove themselves, and usually there's no holds, no reserves, and it can get a lot of fun.
It's a combination of the ones that we've never seen before and then the teams that we're used to that have waited all the way until this point in the phase to actually attempt to qualify. But of course, we are actually casting the finals of this week for Europe. And it's a best-of-5 series between Team Breakpoint and Volts.
I like it. The interesting thing is seeing Cryptic not performing as well, and they had come out and said that they're making a lot of changes in the back end to their roster and what they want to do with their Paladins and even what they want to do as an organization. So a little bit of figuring out there, but it is strange not to see them, you know, this late in this phase not already have been qualified. So we'll take a look to see what these guys have to bring. I'm excited to see these guys kind of duke it out here for that potential spot in the phase finals.
And Jaguar Falls is the first place we're ahead. And no Bright Marsh, no Ascension Peak. Been a while since we've seen Ascension Peak, quite honestly. But Jaguar Falls tends to be one that is either in the first or second a lot of times for the map picks.
Ascension Peak is just, I feel like as far as team play goes, it's really difficult because you have so many different areas to work through. The point objective is so hard to fight over. Exactly. It's a whole labyrinth of things. So again, these older maps, you know, are a lot more familiar to just about everybody. And to be honest, when I play ranked, I don't know how many times I could probably count on one hand how many times in ranked I've played Ascension Peak.
It's true. I mean, as you add more maps to it, it's going to be less likely for you to go to the same map over and over again. So that's part of it as well. Some teams have already decided we're going to go ahead and master this, kind of the way that Splitstone Quarry was, but it still takes a bit of time. Yeah,
it's really smart, I think, too, for newer teams, you know, out there trying to be, you know, we're trying to put together a roster, trying to make this happen for the kind of the pro-am scene that we have going on. And it comes down to, let's just get one step, and then another, and then another. So interesting ban so far. The Drogos has been banned a lot lately. What is your reasoning, do you think, behind that?
Well, I think that generally speaking before, some teams could get away with not having a blaster technically in their region depending on what the disparity between actual talent levels between the teams are. But now, especially when you're going to maps with enclosed areas in Drogo, since the change that actually happened to his projectiles, he already came back for the players that had liked him previously, which gave more reason, I feel like, for players that didn't normally pick him up to either go back after a while or say we should probably have this in our arsenal.
That's a really good point. But it leaves Maeve open, which was the first pick for Volts, and that's going to be really scary for the Terminus, who again has no way of blocking that Street Justice pounce damage. And Nara Fernando up front plus a Genos. This is a really solid start for Volts, but there is a Buck Bomb King Maldamba that's a lot of disruption for the side of Breakpoint.
And it does mean so far they are weighing heavily onto the Maeve.
Yeah.
So if you're solo Terminus going against and you kind of know who you're looking out for, at least with Xin, if you have two capable flanks that are really persisting with these champions, then I think you feel much more comfortable relying upon them.
I agree, but even still, you got to look at the consistent damage output when it comes to holding the point. It's going to have to be on this Fernando and Nara combo to stay alive, break that cauterized line of sight, especially later in the game to get themselves fully healed. Again, the Genos is going to have a hard time keeping both those front lines open, while meanwhile, you are going to be getting yourself that Terminus Maldamba combo, so potentially some Swift Spirits coming through to help him with that move speed to, again, be kind of elusive and slippery up front.
Well, heading off to this game number 1. But it does seem like when you have the blaster potential on the side of blue. That's something that you have to account for as well. On the opposite end, you've got your double frontliners that are going to be attempting to dominate the actual objective and maybe some background potential. But it is Jaguar Falls. All right, we got... I was a little back from, like, they are kind of... Because they're in the same world,
the same
technically. Like, the part of the realm.
Isles, yeah.
Yeah, so... like, maybe. But nope, we're here in Jaguar Falls, and Bomb King actually thrives here.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, again, his ability to zone is incredible, but Maeve already has the backline pressure. First blood does come out, though, onto the Xin, who was running Yomi, so that's going to be a little bit of damage from long range. Obviously, no longer on the table, but Terminus also falls, so Volts, again, has the double front line. It's just the solo for Breakpoint, which means at this point should go in control of Volts. How much percentage do they get is the question.
And can they punish this composition and manage to get a few shots into the Buck, but he has his own level of sustain, so Maeve has to back out of it. And 2 kills in favor of Team Breakpoint. So they're actually going to go ahead and stem that 63% in the meantime as Terminus made his way back to the fight.
A couple familiar names, 2 on Breakpoint with Sizay and Surets, former PGS players of past before the even PGS was there. They were really notable players that really, in my opinion, looked like they could possibly go pro once the Pro League came up. Good to see them back, and Sizay is going to be one of those characters that I really want to keep my eye on throughout this set because he could be so explosive on these DPS characters.
And right now, though, Volts, they're deciding to stick together as a unit, rotate back over to the objective, and maybe Sizay can actually get some of these shots nicely onto the Maeve, who's chunked down to 50%, but luckily able to survive so far with a Nando to come and protect, but trades his life for it, and Maeve still goes down.
Yeah, a really good play there from Sly6, able to come back through the point and make sure that all of that route that could possibly be used by Maeve to get away is not. And look at this, the Geno super staggered out, full 12 seconds. It's a 4-on-5. If they can find another, that would be huge. And this is the combo potential that I really like about Leon into a Maeve. She's so much easier to track with the hit scan, but the 2 auto-aim abilities help kind of get that damage in, and especially with only a Genos, it's going to be really hard to keep this Maeve healthy.
And that's the thing, with Leon, you're not always going to see that big, here's a huge quadra kill and finishing this and that. It's just that constant application of pressure and hoping the rest of the team can supplement it as well. As Sly actually takes a good angle here, actually gets hit with a lot of damage though. Nice long shots onto the Xin, who's probably going to have to back off for safety.
Terminus putting a little bit of pressure there on that right-hand side as well, but looks like they are going to back up through time and space. We'll be able to connect one. That's on the Buck. Did it go off on the Buck? I saw him drop on the kill feed, but his portrait is still there.
A little confusing. He's a slippery little fella.
Not so little.
Yeah, not so I mean, yeah, I guess when you think about it, he's probably... I mean, Terminus is probably one of the chunkier ones.
For sure.
He's got his weight. There's actually a King Bomb to go nice into the Fernando. But is that going to be enough for Team Breakpoint to break past this? They're actually knocking on the front door already, and Volts are losing 1 by 1 with their players. And
this is just such an interesting play style when it comes down to the Yomi Xin. Look how far back he has to play. He doesn't have that billow to get out and get the heal. He doesn't have the guillotine that could burst down a character like Terminus, so he's got to play and try to chunk down from distance. Terminus going to work on Fernando again, who might just fall. Immortal does come out. Nice power siphon. The Shatterfall does get turned around, but the Calamity Blast will be good enough for 1. And now how about a second? Looking for the 3rd. Maeve is low. I don't see her surviving through this. It's just Anara left to contest. She's getting more time, but nice impasse wall. Might be able to delay some time. Still just a 2-0 though.
At Team Breakpoint closing it out, and just a double kill for the Leon, a double kill for the Terminus. And in the end, Team Breakpoint, despite the fact that you have that faster respawn time on the defense, they were able to constantly apply the pressure and actually bait out some of the ultimates.
Yeah, and that's big. Baiting out some of the ultimates. The Immortal being down, especially when you're looking at that 4% capture boost that Volts is going to have, is going to allow Breakpoint to try to contest that point even longer throughout this second round. Really a key ultimate to take off the board.
Now, when you look at the side of Team Breakpoint, though, they are also missing their King Bomb. I think what we saw in the first round is a typical situation when you punish the single front line, you're going to get some kind of access to the point. And Volts were able to get 63% when that happened. So maybe now with comeback mechanic, if they can execute in a similar way, they might be able to actually go ahead and complete the capture.
100% agree. And they have a lot of initiating ults besides that King Bomb that they can use, and of course the Reanimate, which can continue to put that pressure on the point. But in the back line, it's Maeve actually finding Sizay, who did not expect that whatsoever. Sly6 is trying to move his way back to help peel, but it's just a little bit too late as Terminus also falls. Really good engagement. Nice Midnight as well from Volts to make sure they got those 2 kills and stayed safe.
Yeah, Midnight Spice with Seismic Crash and everything. Volts put a lot of resources into that, and they are making their impact known on the actual objective.
Nice.
But Team Breakpoint are also attempting to find their way back into the fight, with Anar standing strong here. Still a lot of HP to her name, and it's going to require Bomb King to rotate around, focus down onto these frontliners.
Wow.
Can he pick up one? There goes the Fernando, and Inara is soon to follow.
That's really good play from Zelda. He actually did not push into either of those front lines, sitting on the point, making sure he was contesting while still throwing these shotgun shells out, able to help convert 2 with the help of Sly6 with the assists, now up to 66%, and a lot of aggressive zoning here for Breakpoint.
Just a difference in positioning as well. P. James actually picks one up with the through time and space. Could have been the difference for Volts actually capturing in that moment, but Team Breakpoint, they're contesting. They get it. It looked like members of Volts were around, but they weren't touching.
A clutch net shot came up from Zelda to slow the Inara down a little bit longer, and the Fernando just could not get back in time. Volts does clean up most of this fight, but regardless, the scoreboard is what was important for Breakpoint. They find themselves a very clutch 3 points.
You're totally okay with losing some of your
100%.
players after that. You know what? Do that earlier on the push, so
yeah.
we don't have to worry about it later. We can take the time to charge back up some of our ultimate. Zizé is back here, just raining in a lot of the shots and landing very effectively is what's allowing the rest of the team to follow up for the closure.
Oh, just look how spread out Volts was there too. Inara was forward after they got those kills. Fernando was over on the Jaguar Falls side, and where was everybody else? Maeve was falling backwards. You could still see her over on the face side, the left-hand side respectively, and Zen with this Yomi build, they're playing so far back, the frontliners never had a chance of fully getting out of that fight.
Zen has a lot of escape mechanics, so not going down right now. And yes, the way they were spread was almost as if when you're running single front line, you see that more often.
Yeah.
But now they actually have a lot of the heavier targets on Volts, so you don't want to be forced into that sort of positioning. And right now, they are forced. Right outside of their spawn area, Team Breakpoint constantly applying this pressure to give time for the payload to actually make. Here's an enlightenment into the face of Inara. Doesn't actually finish because she was way too high, but still in pursuit of another target.
Oh, Maeve is actually pushing very aggressively. Finds 2, absolutely worth it if these frontliners can move forward and find the Terminus, but Zizé is still here. And look at this, Williams able to find another Calamity shot onto, again, that Yomi Zin. He needs to find a way in. I just haven't felt the Zin pressure at all this game.
Are we going to see a repeat of the last round where Terminus was able to just break past a lot of that what should have been their pressure from Volts? Right now, he's already facing off against this Nando, who's attempting to stay close to the objective for contest, but there's a spite on the opposite end to take down the Bomb King. Without that damage potential, Team Breakpoint really need to step it up.
And really, at this point, you're looking at Breakpoint saying, can you keep the Terminus alive? Taking down the Fernando's a big step in the right direction. Now fighting off against the Inara. Calamity Blast coming out, but Maldamba not quite able to keep him alive, but there is a reanimate.
And Zelda, he's rotated around, manages to get some shots down, and you see the Maeve way in the back, ready to fall. Nice through that broken window, baby. Zelda on the butt coming through clutch right in the protective moments, and Team Breakpoint end up getting the 4-0.
That was an impressive showing for Breakpoint throughout every instance of that game for me. That's just a clutch shot from Buck, and then at that point, it's game on. You want to hit that green light. You want to get those ultimates off. Just make it a clean 4-0. They do it nearly flawlessly. But again, for me, it comes back to that Zen pick. Why Zen with Yomi? Why not something like a Cassie or a Shaolin? Both were on the table.
And that's what we were saying before. If you're going to go with the Maeve and Zen, you have to be very confident in those players and how they can actually execute. But it's a risk that you didn't have to take because of the way the bans went. And maybe in the next game, they'll make a bit of that adjustment and go with something a bit more stable.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I think that, you know, if you're going to be running a Yomi Zen, I just feel like, especially on that map, there is just so many more options when it comes to that constant pressure that you were talking about, specifically when it comes to, you know, a Bomb King that can put out all that grumpy bomb pressure, but also the in-hands are huge when they start to hit. So the Zen just felt a little strange to me. The Maeve never really had the rim to work with. The Zen wasn't really putting enough pressure in the back line to really open up any routes for that flank Nando. And of course, the second front line on the point. It just never really felt fluid to me.
And depending on where they end up going for the second map, I would like to see that adjustment. I feel like they were trying to go with the classic Geno-Zen combination, have him swing as hard as possible, and this is what's broke through teams in the past. But things have evolved since then, where you could just have that single combination to actually propel your team.
Well, especially when you have a Terminus who his power siphon can block most of a full line of sight for that Xin. Is on the point specifically, where are you going to position yourself? Either you're on the Jaguar Fall side hoping someone shows themselves, or you're throwing those big Yomi charges right into a power siphon, and that's when all those Calamity Blasts came into play.
It's great you have so many escape mechanics, but you don't want to spend most of the game running away, which is what it felt like. And right now, you have some similar bans coming out, but Maeve was actually taken off the table as well, which we often see after she makes it through, whether she's on the winning side or not.
And that time wasn't, but still, I think Maeve in this map specifically can be a big instance of shutting down one side of the map completely when it comes to the point fight. So taking it away, it kind of just, I think, shows their hand a little bit. But the Khan first pick, I'm wondering what they're going to plan on synergizing with that. This could be big. So you have a Khan Genos. That's a lot of damage boost if it gets onto the same target. And you need to find, as I say, some kind of big DPS that can continually put out that pressure to potentially utilize that buff properly. And Leon's going to be that case.
And Breakpoint, they got the Bomb King and the Terminus early.
And
Shaolin. So that's where we start seeing a bit of a difference between their draft from last game and now Maldamba locked in as well. So I think on the side of Volts, Khan always want to lock down with that ultimate. You don't always need to be able to throw someone off the edge if you have the damage follow-up from someone else to secure it. But Barrick, what do you think of them bringing this through?
I don't know how I feel about it, simply because Khan Barrick into the face of a Terminus Bomb King, I just see that frontline pressure always going the way of Breakpoint. Yeah, I'll say you don't even need to get a second frontline at this point, just simply because that Terminus with some Swift Spirits on him is going to be able to chase down and make sure that those turrets are never up. And the Khan's health pool and the shield is just not enough to sustain against the big body of Terminus.
Breakpoint felt fairly confident with their single frontline during game number 1 and look like they're continuing in game number 2. And with them having the Xin this time, it does look a bit more comfortable, though, because they have the Bomb King. They have the Shaolin. There's a lot of different types of damage that are going to be raining in on the opponents.
And I think the big key here, now that we spent some time talking about Xin, is I'm wondering, and I'm really interested to see how much space this Xin gets because of that big burst damage coming out of the Shaolin and the Bomb King. So this will be really interesting to see the difference of what we just saw previously from Xin to what we're about to see now from Sly6. Looks like he is going to be using the Yomi as well. So trying to hit those big third strikes is what the key is going to be for him. I
feel like when it was Xin and Maeve, they're kind of people that like to do their own thing, right?
Yeah.
They say, you go try and kill people over there. I'm going to do it over here. Best of luck. But with this combination, you can actually stack a lot of the just sequence of the abilities a bit better. So maybe we'll see some of that synergy. But nice rotation to a very expected area.
I mean, look at this. Breakpoint has no pressure on them whatsoever. Yes, the point is being captured by Volt, but they're about to take over all this high ground. And this is the pressure I'm talking about with Terminus into the face of a Khan. And look at this. He's actually able to push the Genos a little bit further out. So now back to point. The Barrack is completely separated. Leon's trying to find a way to make things work. But again, sucking up these Calamity Blasts. And 2 more shots will do. William Birkin has been hitting these all day so far and continuing to do so here.
Breakpoint don't care about your 54%. When you send Terminus on the way and he's landing those shots, they don't have much to worry about. Of course, right now, Volt have made their pressure actually be known once again as they rotate towards the objective. Since they weren't all kills, some of it was just actually a dispositioning. But 93%, that's nothing to scoff at.
Not even a little bit. There's no Maldamba here at the moment to help out this Terminus, so he will drop away. So what did look good from positioning from Breakpoint turned into a bunch of big kills coming out of the Buck, and then as well the Barrack on point. So good play here from Tired as he's able to get himself set up with that Barrack shop, and no one's able to penetrate through. This is 99% overtime fading away. Terminus will give it a go, but won't be able to touch in time, and a withdraw right into the Barrack barrel will do enough for Tired to actually find himself 2 kills.
Well, well, well. I was liking what I was seeing from Breakpoint right at the beginning, but after you lose 2 players, it looked like, then that was what it took for Volts to be able to step back onto it, and Tired is just moving on forward with this actual payload, taking a bit of damage himself, but he's not really trying to get too aggressive in the fight just yet.
And he's got himself that healing station. You can see he's healing 135 just about every second from standing next to his turrets, which is a lot of the reason why he's able to sustain himself through time and space coming out, but not able to find anything. The rocket boots will be used, barricade just behind, and that'll be enough space gain. But look at this, going forward is Sizze able to find a big stun on the Khan. One more in-hand will do it, but again, it's the train whistle coming out from Buck, and he's able to help out find 2.
Directly into the the face, but it is a 2-for-1 right now. Cezanne needs to follow up to find something else, but the Buck is still alive, picking it up onto the Bomb King. Now it's time to face off against this Terminus, who should be able to survive the interaction, but not actually get the kill yet either.
Well, Soretz is also down, so now Terminus is out here by himself. 3 different players looking at him, not able to find the last bit of health. 53 HP for SRKY, but this is really big. This Buck, who I didn't think would have much room to move whatsoever, has been absolutely huge so far.
I feel like Terminus 2 is like, wait, where'd my friends go?
Yeah.
I was totally fine, and now I'm lonely. Got punished for it. And now is just still alive on this Buck, even when he's on the low ground and just shooting up above, not having a problem. Brings himself back here. There's Kimbo rolling off onto the side, but not going to die just yet. There's a shot into Zelda, looking for another one. Finds the double kill. 3 down for Breakpoint, and Volts with a very quick 2-up.
Now and Barrick have been looking really good so far as you know what look at this damage output. That's a Tinker and Barrick hitting for 25.6k so far, very early and a very quick 2-0. And these are the plays that I'm talking about. Like that Tinker and slug is nothing to really be shied away from. It can hit really hard, and especially if they're consistently hitting. It's really interesting to see this red streak being used just to keep that mobility in hand for Barrick, but the survivability's been huge. He's on a 12 streak. He's completely 12-0 at the moment.
No deaths for 3 of the players. And I think when you have the con, it's allowing Barrick to lean a bit more into that tinkering and get these shots off. And the fact that you have that sustain when you're just standing by your lovely turrets that you can set up anywhere. He's been able to stick around these fights
back to point.
much. Yeah, now he's just directly here. And this is where Breakpoint kind of let it get a little bit out of hand prior. Has to back off, ends up getting punished by Sly. And I think Volts are attempting to have a bit more pressure this time. Double kill for Sly. Billows to find safety, but right into the face of the Buck, who attempts to retreat.
Oh, but this big kill again. Able to find 2, make that 3 for now, KH. Looking for potentially the 4th, but no, it's going to be P. James. Able to take him down. No reanimate here, but goodness gracious. How are you not able to get that kill on the Buck? He's been the big thorn in the side so far, and he's able to pick up 3 more on this engagement in an odd man situation, not in their favor.
I think that Breakpoint has to just have that real talk and say, listen, this Buck is being a pain in our butt. We need to take him out of the equation as soon as possible, as he gets another hit onto the enemy. A double kill. Again, he's just raining them up so quickly. Triple. What is going on with now on this Buck right now?
How does nobody turn around? After the Shaolin dies, everyone needs to turn around and say, okay, get this Buck away from us. He's able to sit in the back line for free, and he's being absolutely devastating back here. Again now on the high ground. The Zin's in a little bit of trouble. He's being chunked through his health pool so quickly.
Are people just not talking in comms when it happens? Maybe they get a bit too frustrated by the fact.
Oh my goodness!
And there's another one onto Zelda. Volts, please, rein in your Buck, man. He's just off of his leash right now, and I don't think Breakpoint is finding any way of trying to counteract this 21 streak. Oh, what are you doing to me, Buck? Man, jeez. This is impressive.
This is actually insane. Now is doing everything he wants to do for free. You talked about the, letting the reins go on the Maven, the Zin. How about on the Buck? The train whistle coming out for Buck Wild again. Takes down Shaolin. He sees Zin up to the left waiting for his cooldowns, but again, he's able to throw these slugs out and hit some pretty big health pool chunks on the Terminus of all the characters. A minute 30 and the payload's moving for free.
Everyone that is alive on Team Breakpoint are having to step in and out of their spawn area just to keep themselves alive against this Buck. Finally, Terminus comes down to the actual objective, but never mind. Here's a Dome Shield immediately as well to continue creating that space. A Dread Serpent actually separates now, but he's just right back full to HP and getting these shots onto Shaolin. 1, and he should be dead. Ends the streak, but at least the rest of the team is somewhat holding.
Man, that was a close moment there. Zelda almost didn't turn around to help out his Maldamba off to his left, and that was almost devastating because the Dread Serpent was used just to keep the Buck away from Maldamba. Fortunately, they hold on for at least a short amount of time, 50 seconds still left until they have to go through that overtime period. But my goodness, now KH has been playing absolutely insane, and his positioning has been great. His converts on when to go in and his committals have been absolutely incredible. This is a big issue for Breakpoint.
There's enough time for them to start up another fight through time and space to try and get it popped off as the rest of the team rotates in. Genos has to find a little bit of safety to heal himself back up, and Terminus wants to get Bully into the face of the enemy frontliner, back into the same positioning that Now had previously. No Buck Wild just yet, but Sly is getting a double kill to his name. Another one down for Volts, and this may be trouble.
It's just these little moments here and there. Sly6 was hanging out in this little atrium, right, that we saw him go through once again. He was able to get into the back line. The Leon pressure was just not enough to take Xin away from that fight, and I think at that point, if you're the Buck, you need to be communicating to your player, your flanker, saying, hey, the Zin's on this side, and we can't help put pressure on the point while he's here. So they needed to move through, but this play is just, what a good trigger. And seeing that there's only one player left, able to get the recovery off, jumping right back into the Shaolin. This is just absolutely clinical Buck gameplay. Actually dodges the spite as well and almost gets the full penna. Incredible play from Now KH.
I think he's been executing pretty much as well as he wants to on the Buck, but then also on the opposite side, Breakpoint just hasn't been responsive enough. So maybe with that, they can actually make a change.
It's been a long time since I've seen someone run momentum above really level 3, level 4 momentum, so that heroic leap will give him some damage reduction for up to 4 seconds. That's a lot, to be completely honest, as far as your sustainability. That combining with the deep breath recovery is going to be a lot of the reason why he's surviving in this late game specifically.
When you think about it, whenever he jumped up to the higher balcony when they're in that last part of the push, and he was able to stay around a lot longer than he would have been able to otherwise. But there's a nice shot in the middle of his jump onto Cize, as Team Breakpoint seem to be breaking apart at the seams once more with the sustain, facing off against the Xin, but I don't think he's going to be able to handle it.
Coming right back in, looking to potentially find the back door of it, but the billow out is good enough. Terminus will drop away. No reanimate available, so this is going to have to be onto the damage dealer. Sly6 able to find one, but here's SRKY able to clean up again. So this pressure in the tapestry area of the church is looking really solid again, 63%. Volt is looking to put this one away.
Can Breakpoint actually break past that actual pressure on the sideline? There's a Dread Serpent with the attempt to do so. Combination indeed. A King Bomb right into the face of the enemies as Turkey attempts to rain the shots into this. Terminus facing off against Now, who does go down, as well as the Khan. A Dome Shield thrown from the wayside from Volts. They're using a lot of their ultimates right now for that 81%, but Team Breakpoint is finally surpassing it.
And it's about time, too, because, again, Cize went for that King Bomb. Ooh, almost channeled that, but a little bit longer on that billow, able to keep him alive. But, yeah, Cize was going in for that King Bomb right as the Dread Serpent was coming out, just could not find the targets as that fear pushed people back over to the keep side of the map. He lost some targets, but fortunately, Sly6 picking up some of that little bit of slack and now putting in, wants this 1v1 versus the Buck, but he's able to survive and actually find himself in front of Zelda, who was able to convert, using the spike to get to the high ground. This is a good play for Breakpoint, but the problem is they're taking this so aggressively so far, they still have to wait for this payload, so you don't want to get overly aggressive here.
I do worry about Volts, though, because it's one thing when they were up 3 points and they lost 1 point and it looked like they're about to get the 4th, but now it's 2 in a row, and Breakpoint have to be feeling a lot better about that. So if they were in any point frazzled by the play of Now previously, right now as the payload finally catches up, they're getting into it, but Terminus does end up falling.
Man, I almost wish that he would hit the reanimate there. It would have been a 5-on-3 if he came back, and he doesn't do that. But the payload, what? Actually still goes. Khan, you have to get down there.
Yo, where were you, bro? I mean, I know it's pretty from that view, but...
That's a big misstep there. You're just about to get yourself back to a 4-on-4 with 2 respawns. Khan just needs the touch for a second, and he doesn't actually do it.
That was rough.
Oh, no.
And I wonder what the rest of the team is thinking, too. Like, where were we in that fight?
You worked so hard for the 3-0, and just like that, now it's back to square one. 3-3. The itemization is online for both teams, and oh my goodness, Volts, they need to have that same early aggression on the point. If I'm calling for IGL right now for Volts, you need to get on the point early and often.
A few ultimates for Breakpoint. I can see this maybe being a big reanimate play if Terminus is caught in the right situation. I think previously he wanted to hold on to it, but here's Sly swinging away as Volts actually go and hide in this opposite end right into the face, but it's a 1-for-1 trade so far. And I think right now this can get pretty tricky.
There's a lot of confusion on the battleground right now. You can see both teams are looking for different sorts of flanks. Dreadsilver comes out with the Enlightenment! Oh my goodness, almost able to turn, but the Slither was good enough to at least give Surets a little bit longer of life before Tired is able to take him down with one of those tinkering shots. And now this is what you want. You want to get yourself set up on a point. No one's really been touching so far. This is really different from what we saw earlier. Now Zelda in the Heat Haze has got Barrick in his sights.
And Barrick has been a big component of actually staying onto the objective, but can't make it over just right now. Still staying alive because of that healing. Couple shots coming out from Zelda, but not enough to actually finish him off just yet. Fighting on the sideline as they do lose the sustain on the side of Volts, losing 3 players right now. Team Breakpoint have seemed to really find their moment.
This is not looking good right now for Volt. 66% counting up. This is exactly where you want to be if you're Sizze. Able to keep Buck right in your line of sight and a couple of stuns coming out as well. You're able to find some early damage. Khan will drop away. 96%. Can Terminus keep everybody off the point? He will. Buck isn't able to touch. Oh no. Volts, you had that game. They let it slide away though.
That always feels bad when you get the first 3 points of a game and then you lose 4 consecutively, because then you just needed any moment in those 4 moments to actually just close out the game, but weren't able to do so.
And you know, as you look back, you know, I'm sure the players are watching the broadcast of this. They'll probably go back and watch the VODs. It's these little small moments that could have put you in the fight there to take that at a potential 4-0 or at least get a 4-1. And one thing goes wrong, and all of a sudden the itemization is allowed to get back online for Breakpoint. They're able to get that cauterized. They're able to get that Haven back in. And they're a whole new team once you get them at the 3-2, 3-3. It's an even game.
Yeah, that's a really good point. With the itemization prior to that, there's a lot of utility unique to your composition that you can actually lean upon a bit more. But then it comes a bit more down to mechanics. Of course, obviously, different tools in each toolbox, but it's much more of a brawl as we saw in the end. Yeah,
very much so. Especially early game. You get those 2 capture percentage. You get that credit boost for capturing the payload. You're up 3-0. You have to be thinking net worth charts were very plateaued between 2 teams. You have to convert moments like that. And that last fight, very disjointed, a lot of confusion. It didn't really seem like there was any full committals to where players were going. The Barrick got a little bit too far out, gets punished, and then, well, the results, they speak for themselves.
But that was game number 2. We have a 3rd game on the way, and Breakpoint, they're up 2-0 right now. And that's also part of it. It was the 3-4, and Volts, that was their opportunity to tie up the match. So not only did they end up losing something that felt very much in their favor, they are now down in the set and looking at a potential reverse if they want to actually win this.
There's so many moments, though, in that game for Volts that shows that this at no point should be a sweep. They can come back through, and they should be able to take a couple of maps. It just hurts to not be able to take Stone Keep there. Now going to Serpent Beach, much more open, much more fluid. But here's the big thing for Serpent Beach, a great map for Buck. I would love to see it prioritized for Volts.
And game number 1, some things weren't really feeling right with their composition. Game number 2, got a bit more online, something that was working more favorably for them, but lost out in the end. Game number 3, if they can bring out the Buck again or have something that is also in that same comfort, and Buck is open right now, didn't get banned away, then that could be their opportunity.
I just don't know if it merits a first pick, is the big problem. But here's the thing. If you can get yourself a priority frontliner here, Breakpoint goes with, they've been prioritizing their damage first and foremost. If they could get a damage in a front line, you might be able to rock a Genos Buck, but at this point with the first pick Genos, I think it really shows their hand too soon. I'm interested to see if Breakpoint might take the Buck from them.
And the fact that Terminus has been working just fine for Breakpoint, even if it is a bit predictable that they are potentially going just single frontline again, if it's working, it's working. Yeah,
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that predictability in some cases can come for you, but in this case, on the opposite end, we have the Strix.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm excited to see it. The biggest thing, you know, as I'm thinking of, again, this priority, why Strix? I guess a lot of it probably has to do with the new scope mechanic. I would say Kinessa's mobility is so much better than Strix on this map, but with Strix, you can at least kind of counteract some of that long range by hitting those little quick scopes. Just a little right click, left click. You don't have to worry about holding down that zoomed in right click for so long. Buck does come out for Breakpoint, though, with a Maldamba, and they've been running that Soul Terminus all day. Do you see them continuing to do that here?
I see a world where they do, because of the fact that he's been able to not just hold onto the objective, but play aggressively when need be. And on the side of Volts, you know that they're not going to have the Buck. The Strix they do have to worry about, so I think they need to make sure that with the Buck, he takes care of that. But Willow, I want to see, are you actually locking in Willow, or are you trolling? There you go. Oh!
Double snipes? Double scopes, double snipes?
Maybe? No, it is the Willow.
What?
Either way, it was going to be a weird composition, but...
This isn't real.
Willow has...
This isn't real.
Well, I don't know. Do you
Still
feel it
big.
through your...
I do.
You do?
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
not that thick of a jacket.
It is. I feel like it's actually perfect for this part of the season.
Well, yeah, it was a little chilly in here, too, so I'm feeling pretty...
Yeah,
Pretty toasty.
I feel like they've been warming us up though with the gameplay and stuff. Not as chilly as before, but Willow. Once in a while over this past week, I want to say some teams have been bringing her back into the table. Not in any way that's super convincing, where you're going to see everyone following suit. But I think a lot of times right now on a map like this, where you do want some kind of versatility with the high ground. And hey, why not? You're on the last potential game. If you do lose this, try and bring something a bit creative.
Here's the thing with Willow. I want her to be viable so badly because Dead Zone brings such a unique element to Paladins that nobody else is even close to bringing. An ability that completely negates healing. In itself, you have to say, we have to find a way to make this work. For me, it kind of reminds me of when Grover was first introduced with his big healing ultimate, the Whirlwind. It's like an ultimate that does that, there has to be a way to make him work. So I'm excited to see teams starting to do a little bit more with Willow. I would love to see her come back up because, again, you put down one Dead Zone. This Terminus has no way of healing. He's got no mobility really whatsoever to get out of that. And you can see, look at that health pool. Is just staying low for so long, but Zelda now looking for some buck plays of his own is able to recover and find himself one kill.
So it's 2 down now on the side of Breakpoint, and Terminus eventually falls, and it's because of that oppression from the healing.
Wow.
Another blast right onto Sizze as Volts start off this game strong, just like the last.
And Willow on a 2-streak.
Oh, boy.
Just count it. Count it. I'm excited to see this go through, but again, the big shots coming through from Strix. Can he find the quick scopes at them, the big targets as well? Maldama will be forced back a little bit, almost finding the trailing shot. Now the flare is the big thing. Flare is so good, able to keep himself that extra visibility for him and his team. It's going to be really big.
Almost capped for Volts as overtime does set in. Breakpoint short a couple of players, and now with this angle, gets the flash, gets the hit right here on the target. Everybody else that he didn't manage to hit did have to force themselves back. And the double kill says he gets his eyes back, but not his actual life.
Eyes open right now, and now, my goodness, that was an incredible play. Now a 9-streak for him, and he's been able to hit some pretty clutch shots, but does a really good use of the flashbang, able to get Terminus as well as Drogos in the back line of it. Team Breakpoint had no chance of really coming into that, at least with any sort of vision, and that's going to be big, especially, again, the space for Willow, I think, is the big key. She is definitely a backline player, but if she's got some extra help and some extra pressure, keep her safe. She's on a 4-streak. Looking for it.
Looking at the Leon right now, who
actually
is taking a lot into the face, and with 168 HP, Willow ends up surviving. I also like the fact that on this map, we usually just see Kinessa if it's only one of the snipers, and it's like, why the Strix? I think the moment we saw is the reason that they wanted that, and applying that kind of just space opening for Willow, who's actually taking the air right now, but she's just vulnerable in that state.
Yeah, that's I think one of the biggest downsides of Willow is, yeah, you do get to go up into the sky, but man, the hitbox is just so big. Even Drogos was able to hit a direct shot while she was channeling it up. Hello? Come here often?
Okay. All right. Just
okay, later. Big gulps, huh? I'll see you later.
I feel like Zelda was seeing how long you could just, maybe I'll hear my reload? What's going on right here?
Good stagger. It's a good stagger, but that was awkward.
That was a very awkward.
That was very awkward.
Well, it's the moments we live for. It brings that extra flavor to the cast, right?
Only in the PGS.
And all in the meantime, as far as the objective goes, we're in 45 seconds to go, and it's on the regression as Team Breakpoint hold at this actual choke point. Not necessarily with complete high ground control, actually some here on the low, but certainly getting some nice hits onto this buck.
Yeah, that's a really good play there. I don't know if he knew for sure that Impale connected onto a wall, but good idea to follow up and double check, able to find the kill, and now an opportunity moving for Volts. Seismic Crash coming out, why not? Find the kill, and Drogos is forced into the Dragon Punch. He'll be able to take down one and actually escape. Good play from Sizze to get himself back and put that little bit of extra damage out with the Fire Spit. Meanwhile, Enlightenment coming out, don't know if it was necessary, but regardless, Sly6 finds himself 2 kills, and that will likely dissuade any more push as this overtime is about to hit, and now a triple kill coming out for Sly6. and a 1-1 tie.
No one was able to go ahead and touch in the end because anyone that really had the mobility to do so was down and out. This is what we're talking about where, yes, it was a great play from Volts earlier and just smack into the face of everybody.
Oh my god.
I feel like they proved really quickly why they went with Strix instead of Kinesu, which I like.
I'm going to take a bet right now and say that now KH, when he plays Realm Royale, plays Assassin a lot.
Probably. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you guys haven't played, you should go play.
For free on Steam.
You can watch this on one monitor if you have to.
This is interesting. You don't normally see Dexterous being used on an unauthorized use build. Usually you see it if there's if he's going with the side swap with the pistol and the life swap that he could come out with. That kind of synergy he uses, but this is interesting to see, and again, it's coming big so many times, so now you're seeing why the value, at least he has it in at level 4. This is a tough situation, everyone pushing right into his face, and this is exactly what you want to see for Breakpoint. Just get into the backline that is so immobile, and then come back to the point. Sly6 able to find himself an unstoppable spree at the moment. Ooh, long-range fadeaway shot almost actually connects.
Anyone that is up on Volts are actually so backed off of the objective that Team Breakpoint are going to actually get a lot of impact with percentages, and Volts have to find their way back to it. And you can see already a rotation from Shaolin all the way around the side through time and space, clipping that way as well. The Heat Haze activated, rained some into Cize, but no kill just yet as we're passing 81% on the points.
This has got to be a really frustrating game to play Drogos into. You got yourself Strix always looking at you. You've got yourself, again, as well, the Willow who can burst you down very quickly, and the Shaolin who can burst you down very quickly. Not a lot of line of sight that's for free on this Drogos, and Volt is able to convert after that kill onto Cize to find 2 more. Reanimate was used and immediately taken right back down, and Volt's looking to find themselves a potential second capture as they're able to stall out Team Breakpoint at 87%.
Without the Maldamba, it's very difficult for anyone from Breakpoint to actually break through this lineup that Volt has. And tired, some shots from afar, and you see them actually grouping, and here's the Buck Wild from the high ground if he can go ahead and eliminate somebody. But Sly ends up getting taken right into the back of the head, 78% by Volt, but is going to go ahead and get stopped right now as Terminus makes his way back through. Surky goes down as well as the Inara, and here's Breakpoint with the capture.
Oh my goodness, talk about Sky Supremacy there as Cize is able to use the Dragon Punch right as the channel expires from Willow's Fae Flight, and now with that 2:15 on the clock, it is 2-1 for Team Breakpoint, able to convert that point just narrowly, but the damage output is so huge, and I think if you're looking at Breakpoint, you need to continue to find a commit. Wherever there is a hole in the defense, just push right through it, penetrate into the back line, and try to force this Strix and Willow away, exactly what they did there to help get that point.
Volt's a little delayed on their approach to that choke, and maybe they can make it in time, but then Cize, he just rotates to the back, takes out now. Here's a double kill actually for the Drogos as the rest of the team follows up. Willow and Genos, a combination that is not strong enough to stand on their own to actually hold against this objective.
Cize's looking really fresh on this Drogos. Again, this is not an easy matchup for him, and he's been doing a really good job of manipulating the map and making sure he's staying as safe as possible, though as I say that, he thrusts right into a bridge, so not so much, but good salvo. Again, the backline pressure is really strong. If you can continue to find salvos and Spitfires into those same targets, it should look good for this potential push.
Well, maybe you can get this Genos right now, take out the sustain, and you impact the rest of the team. That was a heavy hit as Seritz ends up cleaning it up. Willow into some trouble too, man! And there's already still over a minute to go on this push before overtime potential, but Team Breakpoint don't even need it.
I'm trying to think back to when Cize and Seretz were playing together before, and someone's going to have to mention me on Twitter. I want to say they played for Team Has No Name. That was the team that a couple of players had gone from and got into the PPL, and it's plays like this that is why Cize's name is so familiar. He's so good at hitting these shots, and Seretz as well. He's been doing a really good job playing the Damba all day today so far. He does have a Dread Serpent available to potentially push this one to a 4-1, and again, when you have a frontliner like this Terminus who's playing aggressive from William, it's just a really good synergy, and my goodness, this is looking really good again for Team Breakpoint.
I loved Cize's target selection as well. He went up into the high ground to find the Inara, ran into a Geno, so well, obviously I need to clean this up, then saw the Willow, so not getting too much tunnel vision onto one target is what allowed them to just snowball that point right into the objective. But here we are, potential last point for Team Breakpoint, as they add the Dragon Punch into the face of Inara, and that is going to be huge huge for the side of red.
And it's not just that. That opens up that hole that we were talking about in this defense. They're able to push right on through. P. James has no chance of escaping the power of the Drogos, and now the zone is on. It was only 23% for Volts. They have to find a way to get through a Terminus, a lot of Drogo spam, and beyond that, the big hit scam that comes out of Leon.
Yeah, look at the way that they're spread right now. Every single angle that Breakpoint can actually take, they have taken, but Sly ends up getting punished. James with the final hit onto that one sees that he has to rotate his attention back onto the point as Terminus attempts to hold.
He's already back to 51%, 99%. No one's able to touch in time.
What?
Again, the power of Terminus on the point, especially with Inara being poked out. No one was able to contest. What a play there against Sizze. Outstanding Drogo's gameplay.
I feel like there were a few times where okay, this fight's going to go a little bit, and then they capture, and you think, oh, I guess Terminus really was doing that much. I kind of want to look at with the other team also. Were you aware of the fact that he's been holding this entire time throughout the set and anticipate something like that?
It's tough because yesterday we were looking at a Terminus who stepped off the point to chase a kill onto Brightmarsh, and they lost the point because of it. Just stand to the point. If you have the advantage in the front line, use that. Get that capture percentage. Force the opponents to come to you. Don't chase them, especially when you're playing the big stone man himself.
So even though it was a 3-0 in the favor of Team Breakpoint, I think Volts really showed their prowess. And a lot of it was just kind of once the enemy saw through some of their strategy, then they were able to flip it on their head.
And it's those late game panic moments too, where things just kind of fell apart for Volts. That's definitely where you need to clean things up. When it's 3-2, 3-3, how do you go for this next point objective? Where do we want to go as far as the committal call? It just never seemed like it was fully there. At least not yet. That's definitely what I would say if I were coaching. That's the first place to look at it where it didn't improve.
Well, taking a look at the bracket and how things shook out here in this set, it was a 3-0 in the favor of Team Breakpoint, as they actually had made their way through Team Cryptic as well. This is week 3, so both of these teams will be in the phase finals of next week.
Yeah, and we're getting close to the end of the Global Series as well. So this is kind of like the last chance to prove them, at least in this span of things so far in the Global Series. Again, that 10-month contract is getting a little bit closer to the end.
And we got lands coming up and everything.
Excited.
So schedule-wise, we just casted ourselves some EU PGS, and next up we do have Brazil. So it's not over just yet, guys.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, more action as we determine more teams going into the phase final to try and figure out, hey, who are we going to see at the next LAN? Want to know who's going to be standing out. But we're going to kick it to a break, and when we return, we will be taking a trip over into Brazil. See you then.
Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable. Used to do. No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air.
Hey gang, welcome back here to the PGS. Thank you for watching wherever you may be watching. I'm Pretty Hair, that's Gore Miser. We just saw Europe. Now it's time to head down to Brazil and catch the action there.
I'm kind of excited to see it. I feel like Brazil's in that region where, kind of like LATAM, where it's like you've got the one team that's really good, but
Right.
everyone's like slowly closing that gap to get close
I think
to
they've
it.
already qualified this phase.
I think they did too. I feel like it
can't
was either last week or 2 weeks ago that Space Station went through.
Well, we'll have to see once we get to the bracket here. Remember, this is an open bracket style of tournament, so during the first 3 weeks, you can sign up at any point. We are in week 3, so we're going to be taking the top 4 teams out of this bracket. Everyone that's in the semifinals will be making it to the phase finals, which is next week. This kind of series operates on a month schedule, right, with the first 3 weeks being open bracket. The last one is where all the teams that qualified from that open bracket get to come play in the phase finals for money and crystals. Grok team versus Perfect Line will be squaring off in the best of 5 to just determine seeding at this point, because like we said, everyone's already made it.
And it's one of those areas, and especially looking at the names, I like the name Grok Team, but I kind of wish Princess of the Realm had been able to get a little further, because I feel like,
Dude,
I don't
I
know,
wish
they give
Pretty
me,
Hair
like,
Fan
Sailor
Club
Moon.
didn't get swept yesterday.
Pretty Hair
I
Fan
mean,
Club was
you
a
know,
fun
we
one.
all have things that we want. Gore,
I feel like OTP, I'm still saying it, we're the one true Pretty Hair. Like, that was like, you have Pretty Hair Fan Club, but they're just the fan club. Then you have the one
it was
true
just
Pretty
me
Hair.
playing 5 Paladins accounts. You know,
You have like 5 controllers in front of you, and you're
easy clap for me. We'll have to go into the map draft now, see where this set will unfold, at least to begin with. Timber's gone, Fish Market's gone, Jack Falls will be up first on the docket.
I feel like Fish Market and Timber Mill are something like just like the old school bands. Like, just get rid of those two.
Yeah.
You don't worry about Ascension Peak. You don't worry about any of the others. You just these two are the ones that are like they're either too slow for us, they don't have the pace we want, or they're too long of a map, long of a push that we just don't want to deal with it. Jagfarl's kind of in that same area as just closed point, kind of like Bright Marsh, and then nice long push.
Maeve's going to be taken out. Shaolin will follow Terminus as well. I gotta say, I was watching, when I was watching the last set, I see this buck get a triple kill, almost a quadra kill, then literally the next fight get another quadra kill, and I'm like, man, this is definitely probably going to go all 5 games, so these teams are kind of owning each other back and forth, but then no. Whole sweep.
Dude, that buck was doing everything in his power to load his team up on his back. I think
I know,
there was a
man.
point I looked up, he was like 23-6 or something like that. And I'm
How do you
like,
lose that? How do you lose that
You
game?
are going so hard, and then you look at the other slash lines. It's like, well, this guy's 5-6. This guy's like 6-7 or 6-6. And like, okay, well, I can see like you're just stepping up. You're out there, and I'm kind of curious if we'll see anything like that through all this.
You know, the benefit to being the French gutter snipe is that even if you're banned, you can sneak in the draft if you're very careful about it.
Well, one of them was, it was Maeve looking to the left. The other one was Maeve looking to the right. They're two different people.
She threw Makoa's
Actually,
picture.
twins.
Yeah, she threw Makoa's picture up there in the band section and just hopped in the draft.
That's the way she sneaks around. That's the
Well-
only way. Like, when she gets behind your team, it's because she thought it actually, like, she disguised herself as your Makoa. This is actually be a
New
really
talent.
cool, like, mechanic.
Oh man, production's funny, dude.
You're essentially like Spy from TF2, right? Where it's just like, hey, look, I'm just a blue sniper, dude, and you're just like the red
New
spy, and you go
talent.
and like stab
How
him in
does
the
that
back.
class work? Do you physically look like the other characters
So
in the game?
you physically look like them, but you take the name of someone on the other team as well. So like if they hit
No
tab and
way.
they see that name, they're like, oh, okay, this is on my team. But then if you
Wow.
happen to stand next to the guy whose name you took, then it's kind of like, oh. It's like, wait a minute.
And then you have to 50-50.
And then you have to
just shoot
50-50. Who do I
someone.
shoot? Like, if I shoot this guy, he's going to know that I know he's a spy, but I didn't shoot the right one.
And well, here are the drafts, guys. Solo Geno, Solo Nara with 3 DPS versus some Maeve action coming over from the left-hand side. Does end up making it into the draft. That was a Makoa ban, not a Maeve ban. So she comes through 6th overall. And that's kind of funny to watch because certain teams will prioritize her first. PPL teams will take her first. Why do you think she goes 6th overall here?
I feel like it's just going to be regional differences. And one of those areas of how well do you think you can play it, I want to say. How well can you actually kind of loop that into your team and your meta?
The talent screen's working, dude. Craigasm.
I forgot what this looked like.
Oh, God, look at it, boys. Look at it, chat. The info.
So much that I actually couldn't remember the icon for Street Justice.
Oh, really? That's funny. Look at all the info we've got available. All those talents. You can pause. You can screenshot. Take a picture. It'll last longer than our words. 18% on the objective for Grok team. They do have their 3 DPS. They have a lot of scary combos with this Genos, the Bomb King, the Xin, and the Cassie, and the Inara. I mean, this composition, it's going to be hard to mess with.
And it's going to be one of those ones that's very difficult to get around the point at all. Just Bomb King's going to be able to control it. Xin, you step in the wrong area, he's going to be able to get a ton of damage down on you, as shown by the Fernando right there. And Inara just has to happily sit on the point.
Ooh, nice shots there from a Spexy, 87% to nothing. Grok team in some trouble here. Barrick left alone on an island, 100-0, the quickest capture, I think, mathematically possible. And just under a minute 40 on the game clock here. First offense will begin for the Grok team.
And already starting it off perfect. Nice push early on. A few kills rolling out with that as well. Built the front lines. Having a lot of trouble here. Just the way things are going, Fernando and Barrick have not had any presence. I mean, Fernando at one point tried to step onto the point, just instant deleted.
Yeah.
And then Barrick couldn't do anything.
I mean, are you happy with the way they took that fight? Is there anything that you'd change if you were drawing that one up on the whiteboard?
Where Maeve was, I feel like she was sitting with the rest of the team trying to fight that. Kind of like the way Cassie was fighting it on the other side. But you're Maeve. Like, go around the side, take care of the Cassie, kind of come in from the back and try to do something just a little bit more impactful for your team. Flankish. That's the best way to put it.
Nail on the head there. Nice nice take for sure. 137 on the clock. Yeah, do your job? Question mark. What would you say, Maeve, that it is you do here?
Well, I don't really, step to the side. And it's not necessarily a gank either, because I'm not like coming out of a jungle in a MOBA. I'd say it's kind of like flanking the enemy team.
Wow. A lot of fragging going on here now, trying to stabilize this defense. Pitt, he manages to get in there with a Dragon Punch, and then I think, instead of getting out, nowadays it seems like the trend for Drogo's players is to just go for that second frag, maybe 2-tap somebody else, get the 2-for-1, or hell, 3-for-1 if you can pull it off.
If you find the right area, and maybe if you get a good Dragon Spit with enough low health bars, you could do something, but it's in that area of like, you're going to put yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Especially when you're fighting a team like this. Like, they're all circling around this Inara. You're not going to live through a lot of that engagement.
42 seconds on the clock now. Another one falls. Ludador, the gang, Grok team, inches from conversion. Success is now theirs. 3:30 on the clock. A pretty blazing pace. We could be done here in about 6 minutes flat if this keeps up. I need to see some contests. Gore thinks that Maeve should maybe flank a little bit. Just make it so, Grok team doesn't have to look at one choke point, essentially. There's 3 different angles directly to the point. She could wrap all the way around. Like you mentioned during the map draft phase, Jaguar Falls is on the smaller side in terms of line of sights, things like that, ways to get around the map. That's why I think Xin does do pretty well here. Flankers don't have to usually burn a lot of cooldowns to get to the back line because there are so many line of sight breaks.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen someone running Fatal Sign before. And it's just one of those things similar, I would say, to like when you're looking at Shaolin, like, okay, you get cooldown reduction on eliminations. It's just, hey, you kill someone, I'm going to get a reload. That's all you really have going for you. But as Cassie, I feel like that actually enables you a little bit more, especially when you're just doing this.
A lot of things coming through ultimates, but Immortal is going to shrug most of them off. 1-for-1 trade so far. This Cassie with a nice angle here. No scout to spot out this Midnight, so I have to eat the full duration of that, but it's a 3-for-1 so far. Perfect line, trying to stabilize. Here comes the spike from Xin, and Cassie with a beautiful body block. She's going to dive the Dome Shield.
Oh!
Sometimes when you're ahead, you can get a little bit overzealous, and Barrick, another easy clap for the Dwarf Engineer.
That was literally the perfect bait. Like, I'm going to pull you into a corner, you're going to think you're going to kill me, boom, turret. And with the way, like, his size is perfect, you can't aim over the turret. You have to shoot at the same height.
I know.
It's just the body blocker for you.
That's really funny. It is actually almost identical size to him. The King playing the nice angles here. Grumpy Bomb does find the stun on the Fernando, but the angle he's at, he's just kind of safe here. Not a lot of HP for RC Soldier to work with. But he does have his Genos heal. He's got his damage boost. It's about to fall off here. One more on the May would have been good. Look for the fireball around the corner. It's going to be good. And just like that, perfect line. Comeback mechanic in hand. They're going to answer and get themselves on the board.
And a lot of that, I feel like, was early on, especially the Immortal. Once it came through, you just immune a lot of that damage. You make sure that your team's staying alive. You at least have some pressure. Otherwise, that was a quick fight for Grok team. They would have had that very quick. And then, of course, I have to give credit to Barrick for getting a double kill, although I think I might give more credit to Grok team for giving him the double kill than anything else.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That was the root of the misplay, I think, for young Grok team. Diving that turret is not good. It applies the damage over time to where from my experience anyway, even if you just step in, step out, if you just get the dot applied, you are taking 1,000 damage. And if you're in there for longer, which Spexy was, he was living inside of the dome trying to clean up that kill. You know, you're on a timer. You've basically sacrificed your life unless you get out with more than 1,000 HP.
And that's one of those moments that I feel like your mindset is, I can roll in, all I have to do is shoot this guy once. I just have to hit him once.
Yeah.
And it's like, you underestimate the power of the shield and the turret, and the fact that the turret's going to tank some of those shots.
Feeling himself right now, and I think for good reason, hitting some nice ones across the way here. This is probably one of the longer line of sights on Jaguar Falls overall, and it's kind of Cassie's wheelhouse. It's that mid to long range, so to speak, where Maeve is struggling a little bit. Barracks, yeah, not easy for him to connect at this range as well. Spexy's just basically farming player damage, poking people out, and making it nice and easy for RC Soldier to come around the corner and clean up too.
All you need is just a little bit of poke, and then someone to get aggressive. Bomb King getting really aggressive. This is a defense right now, as they are pushing Perfect Line literally back into their base one by one, looking like they're trying to push their own payload through. And stuck in this position where you could tell the comeback mechanic was a lot of the power Perfect Line had on that point. Yeah. This is one of those pushes where it just all goes downhill. I don't even know how they can break back to get to the payload.
Comeback mechanic plus a couple of pretty handy misplays there. Perfect Line, though, they are sitting on all of their ultimates just about. A couple more percent to gain on Immortal for that to be full charge. Only 19 on the clock for this defense to hold. Grok team is in no position to need to use ultimates, though they do lose one while out zoning. I still think they'll hold the trigger for at least now.
5 seconds left. Just walking forward at this point. You can get on the payload, but the question is if it's going to be worthwhile. There's a Bomb King just laying in wait. He's actually going to get aggressive up against the Drogos. Goes in RC Soldier's favor, and now it's just systematically picking up kills one more time.
There it is. The overtime's starting to expire now. And fortunately for the Grok team, they were only at 2 points on the scoreboard. So what does that mean? A defensive point. They'll go up 3-1 here and have the chance to close the game. If they're able to just capture this payload up over the top, you lose track of Drogos for 1 second, and he can punish you pretty handily.
Does exactly what he needs. A lot of mobility, and I like the loadout here for Pit is not terrible. It's just one of those things, and I feel like it's more of the space creator. I mean, he's 6 and 9, he's getting a lot of kills, but he's got a lot of deaths to his name. But I look more at the slash lines, the 2-6, the 2-7, the 3-7. He doesn't really have a lot of space to just beat Drogos. Yeah. And when you flip on the other side, you can see who's taking him down. It's all Cassie.
If I'm moving points around in this loadout, lung capacity for me is a little meh.
Especially with
survival only at level 2. 20% of Drogo's HP is 480 HP. So the window for you to be put at or below 480 without dying is pretty slim, and the Dragon Punch is going to come in here. It's going to be good. He's going to fire spit to the back line, try and clean up this Genos. 3 for nothing. Perfect line come roaring in. Spexy answers onto 1 kill. They're going to need a hell of a lot more than that.
All you need is one good fight and comeback mechanic, and you could potentially take this point once again. Maybe looking for a little bit better push overall than they had during the last round. But again, I'm kind of looking towards the Cassie. I'm looking towards Bomb King. No ults available, but a lot of damage on their side.
Great use of ultimates from Perfect Line to get themselves into this situation here. The Rockets are good onto Inara. She misses her seismic crash. She tries to stun the Drogos out mid-flight, but can't. But just like that, Gord, that small little window of opportunity where everyone's looking at Inara is enough time for Grok team to get in a position to dominate this fight.
Good shots coming through. Immortal now as you get the times 11. 13 streak picked up for Spexy, and honestly, it's just been consistent. Just sit on the side, free fire like this. Every now and then, you might not have anyone to look at because you just killed their entire team off, so you're just patiently waiting for someone to peek in the wrong area.
Oh.
Like that.
And you are not the last one standing. Barrack Maeve descends, defeated to the objective. A sticky bomb falls off. Those sticky bombs are big. That's like the size of Maeve's torso. Could you imagine? Just this robot just yaks you with this mag.
You get hit with this bomb.
Oh god!
It's just like attached like
as heavy as you are.
One arm up here, one down here. Like you feel it kind of crushing you.
Grabs onto you. Oh man! And then blows up.
And then your idea is, I'm gonna keep fighting that guy. Like no, I'm gonna get the hell out.
What if you got stuck and it just like weighed you down, like you couldn't jump anymore? It's too heavy.
Those are the mechanics that we can't have.
These are
no more gravity.
That's why you don't want me designing the game. I'd be putting stupid stuff in there, guys. That's game 1. We got probably 1 or 2 more to go by the looks of things here, unless Grok team can figure out a way to bounce back. It was a strong start for me. I mean, Spexy's Cassie just got to her spot too often for too long.
And there was a lot of, like, you could see Drogo's doing something really strong on the one side where it's like, okay, that's a good fire spit. Those are some good rockets. That's a good ult.
Yeah.
And then there was no follow-up. It's like, okay, you're doing a lot of everything you can, anything in your kit that will give some sort of presence. And then Fernando every now and then hits an immortal, and that's about the only thing your team had going for it.
Well, let's head to game number 2. Let's get it underway to the map screen. And it reveals Frog Isle here, so perhaps a little bit of sniper play here. Cassie, I would imagine, gets run back if they can grab it, you know, without giving up too many power picks here, because when you have a game like that, I feel like Cassie is a character where you get into the rhythm of hitting those autos, and then you probably want to just keep running that back if you can help it.
I mean, it's comfortable at that point. You just continue. Again, like, there was a point towards the end where it's just, I have the rhythm of my autos. There's no reason to stop firing, even if there's no one there, because you don't want to lose that kind of, like, I guess, method in your brain where it's just bang, bang, bang. Consistent damage, keeping you kind of there. But it was good enough that it is going to get banned away, unfortunately. Bomb King actually on that ban list as well, which is something I feel like I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, well, after a performance like that, when you're banning it away, this more to me tells me we are picking something that we don't want to have Bomb King run into.
Yeah.
Perhaps. And Makoa is open.
And unpicked.
He survives 2 phases of the draft. That's pretty wild.
That's not Makoa.
No, it's going to be the Drogos here. Genos run back. First pick again. And perfect line go for Saris Terminus. So a lot of pocket heal potential. Terminus, he's a pretty good healing sponge. With Inara open, you have to say it's just personal preference at that point.
And I really like the way they're doing this, just in that area of, like, you know, Terminus, again, really, really tanky, really good point presence. At least when you have to fight him, this is one of the maps that I'd say is probably, like, the worst case for him, where there is place to retreat. There is a way to get away from him. Strix, Shaolin, though, really good. Makoa, never thought I'd see the day. You know we're definitely not in Europe when he is all the way down there.
8th picked. Makoa and Pip will round it out for the Grok team. Fernando rounds out the entire draft. A double front line with a Sarah Strix Shaolin, so a deadly back line to deal with here for the Grok team. And I don't know. Zin gets in there. I think he's got the potential to mess some fools up.
Yeah, I'm curious. Honestly, the Drogos versus Strix matchup, I think, is really the one that's kind of in my mind. Is Drogos going to be able to accomplish a lot, or is Strix going to take him out of the sky every single time? Shaolin and Strix, I think, are really well kitted against this team on this map, but they have kind of a lot of work cut out for them, not only dealing with Drogos, but also the Zen, like you said.
And I think it's a bit of a domino effect. Like, this Drogos really can't do his job effectively until the Strix is dealt with in the back line, or if he knows even, you know, they're distracted right now. I see my Zin, I see my friend in their back line, distracting, trying to create some space for me to go to work. Spexy needs to be able to pull the trigger quickly and realize, all right, now I can show my face, get a couple of big pop shots onto some of these front lines.
RC Soldier taking a big switch from Bomb King now onto Genos. Drogo's being picked up. I believe that was a Spexy. So a big kind of couple of changes overall on the side of Grok team, but ultimately probably still going to feel just as comfortable. I expect to see pretty similar levels of play out of them.
Yeah, he used to be a big hit scan guy. Played a lot of Victor, you know what I mean? So Genos basically Victor with a heal. So I think he'll be just fine there. And this is why I say, you know, Genos is an easy character to just slot somebody onto. You stay in the back line, you right-click your teammates, and you shoot your hit scan rifle. It's not super difficult to do at a base level. Easy to learn, difficult to master type of situation there for the supports. This level, now this Strix has free reign, because I think one of the biggest threats was stunned out and slain early on.
That damage onto Makoa right there was a lot being dumped into one area. Unfortunately, there was no real follow-up, or not enough follow-up, I should say, to get rid of him. It was one of those, okay, you unload your pistol, you maybe get a sniper shot, there's a couple bow shots, but he's just still standing, still taking it, still having no problem. Moves in, and that 42% perfect line picked up really just does not seem to be enough.
And the flare connects with Mr. Gal1. Kanian going to be able to take him down. 66 to 54% on the objective, fading away as Spexy gets taken down. Counts his chickens a little bit before they hatch. He was in a pretty precarious situation there before I think it was really safe to be. Augusto gets fallen as well in the back line, and all of a sudden, Perfect Line are definitely looking the better.
I have to say, honestly, when it comes down to it, I know Shaolin's doing some work, but I feel like this Strix pick was really big for them, and it kind of feels like Grok team either didn't expect the sniper, didn't know what to think of the sniper, or they might not know how to handle it because it just doesn't seem Zin's not able to get back there. Jogos literally can't spend any time in the sky. Pip is kind of suffering from the same effect where if they are visible for just a second, they're going to eat 1,200 damage.
Can we flash the talent screen real quick? I just want to see if it's Guillotine or if it's Yomi. It's going to be Yomi there from Zin. So I was wondering if you just wanted to slay out some of these tanks. Double front line early on with Aceris. I don't know. How are you feeling about this composition late game versus early game?
I mean, as of right now, it's going to be working off just because there's not enough Cauterize. There's no Leon on the side, so that Ceres healing is just going to be 100% there. Fernando and Terminus are going to be pretty much impossible to kill. As the game goes on, as long as you give yourself enough time, I mean, you lose that point, so you lose a lot of credits in terms of like the economy of everything. If you pick up some Cauterize, you get 2, caught 3, then this game becomes a lot easier for Grok team.
Well, the spike comes out from Zin, locks down Fernando. He's able to be taken out. Slain in the back line. A hook will be good onto the other front line. And like that, I think the legs on this push have been cut out, at least until the respawns start to come through. Shaolin staggered out. He'll be 4 seconds before he's available. Grok team might use this opportunity to push forward and perhaps get another staggered pick.
A lot of good shots coming down. I like Gal because, again, just a couple of pushes in the right areas, I guess, where these potions are getting flown, where it's just connect with a couple, hit for like 597 right there, keep them low and keep them scared just a little bit to make sure they aren't going to be pushing too far forward.
Put the fear of God in these boys, Gorman.
Keep it like Batman.
Trying to push this corner, hooked out and slain once again. There's the Catalyst Pip coming through. Decent damage. Terminus put at 1 HP. He's going to go down, not reactivating his ultimate. Lutador as well. Perfect line. Starting to fall a little bit short here. Grok team maybe figuring out the puzzle to this composition, how to defeat them, or at least how to slow them down.
And admittedly, I feel like this is that area where, honestly, Strix kind of falls off just because of the positioning you have to take as a sniper on the push. Over the point, nice long lines of sight, really open area. Anyone who steps out to fight or contend is going to be easy pickings for your scope. Here, there's a lot of walls, there's a few rocks, a couple trees, just so much to kind of block your vision.
Nice rocket there, connects. They lose their Makoa early on. Grok team may have just given new life or at least one more chance for Perfect Line to get this one pushed through. Ultimates available on either side. Ancient Rage and Immortal, the only 2 not on the board at this exact moment. Terminus Shatter falls to the back line, takes a lot of punishment for it, uses a lot of Power Siphon juice to bail himself out. Fireball doesn't connect. Spexy is in dire need of a heal here. He cannot afford to peek, but he's thinking about it.
A lot of fire damage coming through, but that's going to be a good Evil Mojo. Nice follow-up to make sure they get rid of the Fernando. There goes Terminus, and that goes the entire push.
That is so crazy how a split second, I feel, decided that fight. If that fireball goes off, you saw Fernando kind of like winding up for it. If that gets off and that Evil Mojo doesn't stop him, Gao 1 is dead. Spexy's 100 HP in that backline. Fernando is killing 2, if not 3 people there, for sure, and pushing that one through without need of ultimates there. The Evil Mojo, such a good ultimate to just brick wall an aggressive push like that.
And if possible, I'd love to see what Fernando actually is running, because that's one of those things when you do have your immovable object in there, and it's usually level 5. This one's being run at level 4. That's kind of the big difference, is you have that 70% reduction. You're not really polymorphed long enough, it feels like, to actually have that follow-up come through.
Yeah.
And that just that 14% difference can make such a big gap in the time that you are a chicken.
1-1 here on the scoreboard. Tricksword and Terminus battling it out, but of course Tricksword comes out on top, only to see that target come right back onto the battlefield. 2 quick kills answered back by Perfect Line. Fernando leading the charge into the back line. Shield up, Terminus ready to rock and roll as well, and a nice arrow from Pit X prevents Augusto from making it out. Ancient Rage looks like it was actually used there. I heard the little beats, the drums playing in the back line. 60% for Perfect Line on the objective. Another dominant point fight from Red Team.
And this one has started out even stronger than the last one. The last one took them a second to kind of get into the vibe of things, the way that their comp really wants to work. This time, they have stepped up perfectly from the bat, and there was nothing that Grok team could do. I mean, they killed off Zen, then they killed off Drogoz, stopped his ult from really being anywhere near as useful as it could, and then there was no follow-up. Everyone else just had to fall back.
There's the Immortal after the hook in. And I think they're just going to try to win this fight. There's the shield cooldown comes back up as well. So a nice timing of the kit here from Fernando. He's in need of some heals. He's going to get them from Saris as well. Arrow to the back line, connects onto Pip. Planted, going in on Makoa, putting him in a bad spot, putting some good damage in on the Shell Shield. The spike connects onto Terminus, allows Trixor to maybe give his team a hope to stabilize this engagement.
Coming around this last little bit of a corner from here, it's all one straight path for the payload. And that makes it a little bit more difficult, I want to say, in terms of aggressing. But Perfect Line are holding this angle nice. This is a hard corner to get around, but they've already pushed Grok team back with a couple more shots. Maybe a kill onto that Makoa. They could definitely find their way home.
There it is. Another big arrow connects. Convergence will find Makoa as well. Terminus unsure about where he wants to go. Shaolin has Heat Haze. Could gas pedal this fight. Puts Makoa into the wall, but he shrugs the stun off in what feels like an instant. Wonder if he's got crowd control reduction in his loadout. We could check here. Nice in hand, won't connect onto Terminus. Suspects he will, though. And does Makoa have CCR in his loadout? It seems like he just really shrugged that stun off fairly quickly. That felt like a level 5, right? That felt like 70% crowd control reduction.
Being able to eat it and then walk away. And it's also one of those areas where I'm kind of wondering if did he actually get the full connect against the wall, or was that just a knockback?
I think he did, because I saw his silhouette look stunned, like get turtled.
The turtle, where he just splays himself out, recognizing that there's not much he can do. But in that kind of area, I mean, that's probably the roughest thing, and the reason a lot of front lines right now have put that in their loadout. Even Fernando's usually run that at level 5 just to make sure that they do have the ability to stay alive in those scenarios where, honestly, it's an easy kill to get rid of a front line. That's the perfect time to burn them if you can CC them long enough, but they come back like it's nothing.
24 seconds on the clock. Triple Evil Mojo, double Evil Mojo hit, doesn't matter. Both kills are collapsed on and finished. Now, Terminus left out on an island here. His team has completely been slaughtered around him. Fernando is going to retreat out of this one. Ultimates will be saved for the most part on Perfect Line. Flare and Heat Haze were both used. Just an Evil Mojo, but look at this, already 33% back on that big bad ultimate there. Grok team with a very high-value defense, only needing to use one quick charging ultimate to grab it.
A good through space and time, or potentially
through time and space.
Come
on, you're not in the battleground of the gods.
Been listening to them too much. They just keep that sound. They keep turning us down.
It's faded now, but when that ultimate first came out, man, you would hear me whenever I'd say it. I would like slow down, and my brain would just be like, "Which one is it?"
When I think about it, I always get the wrong. Yeah. I always choose the wrong one. If I'm just like natural, let it come out. It's always the right one. I don't understand why. I guess I should just go with intuition more than
go with your gut.
I'm also going to look at Spexy for the other one who needs to find a really, really good ult here, just because the last one didn't really hit the mark, I think, the way he wanted it to.
So Saris is crushing it in terms of single target healing, but when you combine both Pip and Genos, they're about equalized. And Fernando getting aggressive into this backline. 1 versus 3, pops the Immortal, gets one. Ludador finds the shot from distance. Incredible frontline play here from Kanina, just to dive and create space, distracting 4 members of Grok team.
And once again, move on to the point. They've already got 60% and rising. Grok team don't seem to know how to get in here. They only used 2 of the ults they tried to go for, but none of them were big enough. That Evil Mojo is not going to come up fast enough to make a big difference. You need to make a play now, and you're just losing your healers left and right.
As Spexy starts charging his Dragon Punch from a very exposed position here, Makoa knows where Strix is. He's going to swing away, swing the anchor. But you kind of have to just get back on the objective here. You can't afford to bleed out any more. Capture objective point. No, Terminus is unable to be slain in the Evil Mojo. The convergence timing is beautiful.
Exactly what Perfect Line needed. I mean, Terminus just standing alive. Everyone else was going to be there, but you have that front line to just contend against Augusto. He's finally going to get taken down, trying to do whatever they can. Dragon in the air, finally getting some kills, 2 of them. And that's good for Spexy, but the question is, can they get rid of the one that really needs to go down?
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They bring that back? Spexy? Fine, he just dives the point. Straight up, body on the objective, gets 3 kills. Trixor gets the other 2. Grok team pull this one out of hell somehow to be able to give themselves a chance and probably damn well confirm it here. 99% climbing, no overtime needed. Blue's going to go on the offense here, and they have the chance to end the game.
Keeping them locked down. No ults available for Perfect Line either. And you've got Spite, usually not that huge, but 2 members, Pip and Drogos, that can charge their ults incredibly fast. 51 and 43% on those already. And so with a push, you get about 50%. You give them a little bit of time, 2 minutes. They're going to be able to have that and make a huge impact for the latter half.
And I feel like that just goes back to matchups be damned against Fusillade Drogos. There is always that looming threat of you getting just dove on, 2-tapped, and then another team's getting 2-tapped, and everyone is just dying at such a rapid rate. It's like you feel like you have no way you could possibly lose that fight if you're Perfect Line until Fusillade Drogos shows up, and he makes it happen so fast that I don't even think you could possibly respond in time.
In that area where you have 2 people doing a lot of work. Trickzord getting aggressive, double kills galore, but Pit really running around the side and being able to pick up a few kills for himself again. Just trying to keep it even overall, and once the numbers are even, it makes it a lot more difficult to push. Grok team did not get as much ground as they could have because they were worried about where that shot was.
Great dredge anchor onto that Terminus. Trickzord forced into an awkward spot. Another big one will land. Force the Immortal, in fact, so that's 2 hooks. One forcing a kill, one forcing a big ultimate, big cooldown. Boxing out here. Finally, Zen can get to this back line and go to work as he was designed to do.
And just go to work he does. Saris does live through it,
wow,
but she is going to be the only one has to fall back into the base in order to stay alive. And I don't know. I don't see a convergence really helping here.
It's going to pull one in, Gore. But Saris doesn't even make it to the objective. Unfortunate loss there for Perfect Line. Grok team, they were on the back foot. They were almost converted on a couple times. They were getting their butt whooped, but they bring that one back. Spexy just dives it and makes it happen.
That moment, it was literally just, okay, Drogos hasn't done anything round 1. Okay, they lose the point. Doesn't really do anything round 2. Lose the point. Start of round 3, it's like, man, he dies again. You can't do anything. You tried to channel your ult and you die before you can actually do anything. And it's like, man, he's just not there the way he was on Cassie. Then he shows up, and he's like, okay, guys, let me have the moment. Let me have my at least one shining bright moment to come through. Kills a few people, and then it's just history for them.
What more can you ask for? One more victory will assure victory here for the Grok team. We'll head to the map screen and see what that map might be. Remember, this is going to be loser's pick, so it's Perfect Line selecting Serpent Beach. The Grok team, though, needs to find the win if they want to put this one away. This draft, like Frog Isle, has some keys to it. And while on Frog Isle that was long lines of sight for Perfect Line with Shaolin and Strix, it still wasn't able to work out. So what do you think they're looking to draft here on Serpent Beach?
Well, originally I was thinking one of these teams, Perfect Line, if they had wanted to, or Grok team, would have picked up Terminus, but Terminus was banned away immediately because I think this is a good map for him. And Nara is still in that area where, especially with Cassie, Makoa, Terminus banned, Con banned. I'd say go for her first, but if you want to
do it once.
If your name's Grok team, you have to lock in all 5 Groks.
Actually did it.
Right? Somehow, you just have to make sure all 5 of you can play Grok.
Big mood, I guess. God, could you imagine? Here comes the Pip.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about it.
Ooh, Pip Bomb King there. So they took away the Wombo combo of the Supersonic King Bomb. That's a damn shame. Would have been awesome to see. Pip Bomb King. Blaster pressure comes out early. Fernando and Nara, the 2 front lines still on the board that I think you should care about. Barrack being one of them as well. And it's going to be the Genos, though. Grok team with a pretty safe composition so far. Maeve is still open. I feel a very strong pick on Serpent Beach.
And Grok team have been in this area where they've only been running one front line for most of these games, so I'm kind of wondering if they're going to stick with that, or if maybe they're going to kind of lean into trying to grab another one. So you got Pip, you got Bomb King, you got Eevee, you got a Nara. You're pretty happy, honestly, with that lineup, assuming that your Eevee is good.
Are you? I mean, that's a lot of blast damage to be mitigated.
Oh, true.
Everybody goes blast shields, and you're having a tough time killing anyone. There's a Maeve, there's some direct damage, but even still,
is it enough?
I might still go blast shields in this instance, because the thing about Eevee, if you're not able to in this case 3-shot someone, that's rough. To have to land 4 Ice Staff shots to get 1 kill, you have to then back out and reload. You can only one-clip 1 person basically,
and all the while without getting looked at, without someone returning that damage onto you, taking you down, dealing with you.
Right.
And it's just that I want to say awkward timing, like you said, where it's like, okay, normally you want to blink in 1, 2 shot, blink out. Most of the time, maybe 3 shots if you really
Right, 3
have
shots
to.
is like all you have time
But that's
for.
like the max that, you can throw out. And even then, like, you feel awkward when you throw that 3rd shot out because you're like, someone's going to kill me
It almost
if I'm
feels
here too
wrong,
long.
doesn't it? Yeah, it feels like something looms in the back of your mind that's telling you, like, what the hell are you still doing here, boy? Need to get your ass home, brother.
The battle begins.
Trick Sword starts with an early nimble, 3 cauterizes for Grok team, 1 wrecker for Ludador. Perfect line with a different style of composition they've gone for before, but they have, I will say, plenty of high ground control, which tends to be fairly important on Surfer Beach.
They are all over the place in terms of their picks, or at least what they can play on the side of Grok team. I'm curious to see now how, I believe it was RC Soldier, or Trick Sword now on the Drogos, RC Soldier on Grok as they change it up, but he's going to get first blooded right there. Eevee, so far getting some good work done in conjunction with this mage.
Well, we'll see if the first pick Grok ends up coming back to haunt the Grok team. Because right now, Perfect Line are rolling over them. All the blast damage in the world, it doesn't matter. Mitigation will come online later. We'll see if that makes much of a difference. Right now, Perfect Line seem to be doing just fine with a 99% on the objective, and overtime started. And I don't see much contest coming through either.
So far, Grok just not doing what I think you would want out of it. Not coming through the way you would really want either. I mean, he's got good damage in the right scenario, but it feels like the right scenario was a meta about 6 or 7 months ago. Not really fitting. Not feeling it as much, I want to say now.
Back when Shock Pulse was great. Make Shock Pulse great again. That's really what we need to see here. And there's not a lot of good bounce targets. There's, you know, Warder's Field from Inara that's going to guarantee it. But all these other champions, pretty hard to hit. Maeve, Eevee, very small characters. Very nimble as well. They're going to be up, down, all around. And Pip, he's not exactly gigantic either.
A lot. I want to say that can go right on the side of Grok team. And just not being able to execute it the way you want. Mainly because, I mean, if you look at even the fact that they're all blasters, but like Eevee's always going to be really strong. Bomb King's going to be really strong. Pip in 1v1s can usually take the fight. Maeve does redonkulous amounts of damage if given the right amount of area. And just a little bit of burst to go with her, which most of these, like Eevee or a Bomb King bombs, they're going to get them low enough that Street Justice just eats your health bar.
She's going to be able to go right through Fernando, the only front line for the Grok team, and right on cue. There she goes, straight through the shield. The only defensive moment for Fernando is cut down.
That's got to feel rough. There's 2 things I think that feel probably the worst as Fernando. One of them is a Maeve just coming through your shield. The other one is Khan plucking you because you know that shield's going on cooldown. So the minute you hit, you throw up the right click, you're like, cool, I got the shield, I can help my team, and then it's gone immediately. By the time you can even finish the thought, and you're in that area where this is one of those games as a solo frontline. I mean, you had the Inara pick, you could have gone for other frontlines, but you've kind of drafted into that, and I feel like that's just an oversight.
Here comes the King Bomb Seismic Crash combination rolling in. It's going to hit the Immortal. Tempest to pocket heal this Fernando back to full HP. 2 ultimates for 2 ultimates, but it's the Grok team that comes out on top.
Being able to find a lot right now. RC Soldier in a great position to come around the back, and again, just flanking the way that they needed a Maeve to early on if you were Perfect Line. Finding those kills, at least a little bit of pressure to alleviate. 30 seconds left, and you might be able to touch for some overtime, but it's definitely not going to be comfortable.
Eevee gets shut down as well, so 5 seconds before she's respawned and then has to run back to the objective. There's the Neon Grok skin staff effects there. Pretty cool skin in the realm. A lot of cool skins in this last patch. Demonette Maeve, Archangel Tyra, as well as, I can't remember the name of the Androxus skin, but that one's pretty badass as well.
Give them hell Androxus. Nope,
there
it's
you
definitely
go.
not it.
Give
Don't let
hell,
me
brother.
name skins. A lot of good ones. Just like a lot of good plays coming through right now. The team doing their best to hold on. Overtime's finally there. You're about 2/3 of this push, but you're eating a lot of rockets to the face. That's going to be Ludador's death. And now Inara, as stalwart as she is, you can take her down when she's just alone.
Sure can, and dumping fusillade rockets to the back of her head, and that's... So Pounce actually has, if you're airborne, has a knockback attached to it. And so that's why you see Trick Sword kind of get kicked back even though he's flying around mid-air. That ends up actually saving his life because Maeve ends up putting so much distance in between herself and you if that happens. And you can actually use it, you know, if people are near corners, stuff like that, and jumping around, you can actually knock them off the map. Very hard to do, but good to know all the little things, and Maeve and Evie are definitely sort of dragging this composition along so far for my money.
Yeah, and another one of those little things. Maeve gets second jump, or a third jump, I guess, after that if you do it right. You can, you know, jump, jump, pounce, jump
Right.
for that one. So just, again, stay airborne, do whatever you can. Kind of helps, I want to say, especially when you're in a matchup against something like a Drogo's, you need someone who's going to stay airborne. Evie can kind of get up there, and since that accuracy change on her staff, it's a lot easier to kind of box the Drogo's in the air.
You can jump, jump, pounce, jump, 9 lives, pounce, jump.
Stay up for a long time.
When Maeve came out, I was running her around the training range trying to see if I could jump, I could stay airborne and rotate all the way. Remember that old like structure that used to be in the middle of the training range? If I could make it all the way around, that was what I would practice doing with Maeve. But she falls down, doesn't have the same legs she used to. Dragon Punch is connecting. Ultimate's used from the Grok team. 27% for perfect line on the objective. Salvo Spit is not good at all. Won't find much damage into Kanina, who is just looking for an angle, looking for a team, waiting for support. Maybe finding a couple pop shots here or there. Grok team with that fight victory will earn themselves 51% on the objective and proper positioning for this next fight.
Just because they've been keeping it close. This is honestly kind of similar to how the last map went. It's perfect line looking to come in and have a stronger performance. There's going to be the Ice Storm getting a little bit started for them, looking for the kill onto the healer. Finding that last shot, but you're taking a lot of damage in the process.
And ends up getting the double kill. It all works out. The method is a little questionable. The target swapping, like you get Drogos to one hit, give up on that, Ice Storm a Grok, immediately blink away onto the healer and start attacking a third target there. So I guess, you know, Kanina just trying to set up teammates and get as deep as he possibly can, making kills easy for his squad. Again, RC Soldier falls on the objective. Overtime started for perfect line. Trick Sword's trying to bring this one back. He's already found 2. But they're going to need more than that.
I don't know if I've seen a Through Time and Space connect this entire set. Just the way they've been coming through. The angles aren't bad. It's just throwing them out with no setup, no anything. That last one was just kind of there.
I felt like Zin was on that objective, man. You got to be better than that, son.
Got to be a little quicker on the draw.
That was it, I feel like, you know. Trick Sword, he picked up 3 kills there. Yeah, Spexy hit a beautiful read onto Evie. The Yomi swing was coming through right as she wormholed back to her original blink location. They were just unable to get it done there. Only 1 kill. Just the Bomb King stood between them and victory. Zin could have easily stalled out long enough for a teammate or someone to get in there and provide some support. Even if it cost him his life, I think stalling out that objective when your team has a real shot at it, it ends up being worth it.
Really good mobility right there. Getting knocked all around up in the air was Drogo's, but getting that reset, really, or just using Propel, having that card to launch you forward.
You remember when Fasheko tried to do that in the Masters Lane and had to ult to get himself up and over the wall?
Those, I think, that are the awkward moments when you're like just low enough, like you see the wall and you're like, my camera, because of this angle, is like over the wall. I can see you.
Yeah.
But I'm about to die.
It's either Fish or Dicky. I can't remember.
I think it was Fish, because I remember it was a very questionable ult that still worked out because it was Fnatic.
Yeah, that'll happen. Two kills there come through. Evie dives the back line, tries to pick up the Grok. Fire Spit is good though. Trick Sword with the hard read. Kanina sent back to base with a firm smack on the butt cheeks.
And just being smacked all around for the entire team. Locked back. This push, I mean, it started out as a defense, really, when it came down to it. Now you're 50 seconds left. It hadn't even hit 50%. And you're trying to figure out, how do we get past this team? Drogo's has been just smacking you back and forth. Zin's not been as prevalent, I think, right here. Same thing with Grok, but they're in that area where if you get aggressive on them, they're going to have that moment.
30 seconds remaining as the third commentator states to us all. Ultimate's available for perfect line if they want to try and blast this offense through. 20 seconds now. Midnight available. Pounce away. Reposition, just looking for an angle and opportunity. Double rockets connecting from Trick Sword. Shuts down Pit X, who has been a big source of damage for them. And without him, this offense looks like it might lose its legs.
Really good now target switching, but on the other side, Trick Sword being able to say, look, I'm not going to hit you, I'm going to shoot over here, I'm going to get just a couple of rockets, and with Fusillade, you hit one, then you kind of splash damage the other. They're low enough that they're not going to fight. Whether or not you kill them, you've done your job, you've pushed them back, but they're not going to do anything.
Here's the 3 frags that really almost brought Grok team back into it, but just an awkward little juggle on the objective. ended up putting the point back in favor of Perfect Line. 0-7 for MGC's Inara. Rough shake of things for sure.
15 seconds.
But at the end of the day, she is the easiest target in this lineup. I mean, I don't know how much time you're investing into HP or full HP EVs and Maves running around the map with cooldowns available.
Tricksword's 14-3, and no one on Grok team is opting for blast shields. Got a nimble Drogos, which is something that I'm still kind of always curious about every single time I see it. It does pay off in certain areas, and it seems like him getting aggressive early on is going to help him out, and that time through time and space actually connects.
There it is, and the Immortal as well. The Dragon's Fury to frankly just create space for Fernando. Completely blind boy. Tricksword heads to the back line, won't connect. 30% charge retained. Fire spit might be good. It is. Tricksword deep to the back line around the corner. Max Souza falls. Kanina ripping back into this team fight, but he's brought real low. Gonna hit maybe the read, the fire spit over the top. Tricksword getting a little ahead of himself, starting to whiff some things.
Tricksword had pretty much the same reaction I normally have when an EV blinks away. It's like, I'm shooting right here, and oh god, where'd she go? You flick around a little bit, and then you hear the cue again, and you're like, oh wait, where did she start at?
Oh baby, that King Bomb was big. Double kill outright. The damage is enough. No need for the stun, no need for the follow-up. Ludador's got it on lockdown. Perfect Line. They use not even their last ultimate, their second to last ultimate. They still have an Ice Storm to work with. They've got 60 seconds on the clock and plenty of room to work with. Tricksword finds Max Souza. Pit X finds Gao1. Support for support trade. Who will come out on top? Easy shots here for Kanina. Tricksword unaware of the EV looming just around the corner.
Sitting there, perfect positioning, double kill picked up. Could have been a triple, but that's going to be MGC picking up RC Soldier. And now Zen. I mean, there's a lot Zen can do to get onto the point to try and buy some time, but I just don't see it happening right here. 99 going to tick into 100. Perfect Line grab the point.
3 in a row for Perfect Line. This is looking a little bit like that Frog Isle game, though. I mean, you're able to bring that back. Yeah. You were getting absolutely rolled if you were Grok team on Frog Isle. 2 rounds straight. You managed to hold the defense, finally capture one and push it through for a quick 4-2 victory. A big turnaround. It's not the case this time around, though. They're down 3-2 here. Conversion would mean their first loss in this set. And I think they're obviously looking to bounce back, obviously looking to hold this defense. But I don't know. It feels like they've tried everything in this objective to get
It's that like awkward area where you're like, well, we know we can defend. Yeah. Which is great, but that's not getting you anything because you haven't really been able to push forward. If you go 3-3 here, maybe you hope, okay, they don't have Midnight at the beginning of the round so the Dragon Punch can find Inara. So we maybe get something there. Maybe they don't have the Ice Storm. Maybe Ludador just doesn't happen to find 2 really big kills off his ult, but you're relying a lot on Perfect Line making misplays than really your team being able to kind of step up. So far, I'm going to point it out, this Grok hasn't done a whole lot for him.
Oh yeah, no, it's been pretty butt cheeks for me as well. First pick, definitely not warranted. It's not something that's going to get scooped. You know what I mean?
Like, even accidental, like, you can't, there's no way someone's going to look at Grok and be like, this is actually perfect right now.
Alphabetically, there's not even viable champions near Grok on the champion select screen. Why would you ever think that?
He's up in that corner. I mean, maybe Fernando, like, you misclick and you're like, man, we meant to grab Fernando first. And I clicked in Grok.
Rough stuff.
Oops.
Oof. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Is there any champions with H? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And Nara would be the next one.
I feel like Grok, I don't think he's the furthest on the right of the top. Like, he's that top row, almost the tail end.
I didn't actually know. Yeah, I don't actually know where he sits. 113 on the clock for this offense to get put through. Grok team starting to fall apart a little bit. They lose a Spexy. Here comes the King Bomb. It's going to go to the back line. Evo Mojo finds 1. King Bomb slays 2 immediately again. And that just might have done it. 1 Drogo stands between them and victory. Perfect Line find the first win of the set.
I will say, drop the Grok from your name and from the roster.
Sure.
Well, not the roster, but the team, the composition in that one. Don't pick him up again. Just be team from this point out, and be happy with it.
No longer Grok team. They got to figure something out.
Artist formerly known as Grok team.
I think it's fairly clear the adjustment that needs to be made. RC Soldier's a great player, and
yeah,
I think when you put a lid on him by making him play Grok, I don't know if making him play Grok is the right way to put that. He probably just trolled and insta-locked first pick Grok. Counting your chickens before your hats, though. The reverse sweep potentially begins now. We'll head to the map screen here shortly and see where this map or the set will continue to play out. Remember now, this is going to be back to Grok team. They get to pick since they lost Serpent Beach, and they choose to head to Ice Mines.
Ice Mines, I feel like, was that third map area where it's like, man, we're down 2-0, and we need a win that we think we can get, so we'll go to Ice Mines. Now it's like, okay, we're up 2-0. We're pretty sure we can win on Ice Mines, so let's just go ahead and take it there because there's no way these guys can actually take it, even if it goes 3-3. But again, it feels like the last couple maps, Grok team have just had no real point fight has been my big issue.
Yeah.
A really good defense, which this map is great for defending, but you need that point eventually.
They're just kind of all in on this Drogo smacking everyone, and everyone else just sort of helping, keeping him alive. So I like the Drogo ban. I like the Xin ban. It's 2 picks that Grok team have been running all set long. Pip will be first picked by Perfect Line. Cassie banned out and selected here. We'll get that sorted out. It was probably, I would imagine that's another maybe Makoa ban. That, because I don't know, but at the same time, when Makoa hasn't been banned this set, he went 8th.
Yeah. Did not come through high, did not do well. And the big difference between this one, at least Maeve looks one way in either of those pictures. Cassie's looking the same way. So, it's actually Terminus, very similar to Cassie in a lot of ways. In one of those areas where it's, they're both big hulking
on
monstrosities.
Instagram versus real life.
Tinder profile.
Versus IRL, what you see, what shows up to that date. Oof. Could you imagine?
It's those long locks that really get you, though.
It's an old picture. Oh, man. Sorry, Terminus. Sorry, Terminus. I don't mean to flame. You're beautiful in your own way. You're a big boy.
But you're no Cassie. Sorry.
No,
I've got to come out and say it.
If you have a type, Terminus and Cassie probably don't have a lot of overlap there.
They both exist in the realm.
They both exist. They are both champions in a video game. And that's about the similarity I think that we can stop at. And Makoa 10th. Let's get it. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a Makoa 10th pick here. Hell of a composition from Grok team, though. If they lose with this, they deserve to be swept.
You've got everything that you really need for a successful map. I mean, maybe you'd want the Bomb King on this, but it's like, well, Maeve is going to be really strong, really difficult to kill if she's running the right loadout. Cassie is just going to give damage to Maeve to augment Street Justice. Makoa should never have any, well, he's going to have some trouble. He's going to have some encounters where it doesn't go his way, but a good hook makes that Shaolin do pretty much nothing.
I mean, what do you want on the front line? You want Makoa. What do you want as a flanker? You want Maeve. She's probably across the board the highest prioritized flank right now. What do you want in your back line dealing damage? It's Cassie or Shaw. I think if you're just a direct damage guy for RC Soldier, there's no better pick for his money. It's a hell of a composition here, and I feel that it is decently better than by a fair margin than what Perfect Line have been able to draft themselves. Solo heal Pip and Nara Barrack on the front line. I don't have any problems with Shaolin or Bomb King on this map, but you want to start comparing other things. I think Grok team definitely got the better shake of the draft here.
The way things go, Perfect Line have a lot of potential, but again, I think it comes down to play. And so far, point play, they've been very solid, and that is exactly how you want to stun it, or start it, with a beautiful stun, a couple of good shots. That shield came up just in time. That
was great. I don't know if he meant to be completely honest, because
no,
Cassie's behind
himself.
him. He can't see that. I want to look at Cassie's loadout, though, see if she's running any tumble, because she seemed like she popped out of that stun fairly quickly. No, I was just straight up shrugging it off. Cool beans.
Has the somersault, though, so that helps reset. I don't know if you would have rolled to get into any position there, but at least having that to guaranteed get away. And with the way the map's laid out, you had that consistency that now RC Soldiers is going to be able to sit over here, get a lot of pelt damage. Depending on, again, Maeve's performance after that, Spexy actually going to be first blooded there. It could have gone your way.
Everyone's so low in the mines here. Bolts connecting across the board. Pip doing his best to keep this team healed up, but if they're not really grouped up, then his effectiveness is going to be mitigated fairly heavily. I think RC Soldier could afford to push the Bomb King here. Sees the Grumpy Bomb come out of the high ground, realizes that there is a threat not far to his left. Shots connecting. One more from the King would put Cassie down, and it's not vice versa there. Trick Sword he is a really effective character to get up into this high ground and box out with these players.
Spexy going to be using that talent to try and get rid of Inara. She's low. She's still alive. Moldamba putting in a lot, or Pip putting in a lot of healing here. Moldamba not going to be doing enough to save his side of the team as 3 go down.
Man, the Evil Mojo comes through as well. Grok team fall apart late on the objective. The first round of ultimates comes through, and they're still, like, they were the first one to use an ultimate. They burned the Dread Serpent before any other ultimate was used, and they still fell apart. Perfect Line capture the first objective here on Ice Mines, and what a different story this set has become. I mean, Grok team were absolutely destroying Perfect Line earlier.
And it just feels like a lot of sloppiness that came through. I mean, even on Jaguar Falls, there was some sloppiness where it's like, okay, we're doing really well, we can get aggressive. But it was that kind that comes from doing, you know, really well. The way last game went, not only with the loss, but the fact that the only points you were able to get were from defending. You come into this one with the draft you have, and it feels, again, that you're a little too trigger happy. You're getting a little bit too much for what you're actually able to accomplish skill-wise. You need to kind of hold back just a little bit to make sure that you don't give up a kill for free that you really didn't need to.
Big Blast Shot connects, actually gets the full cooldown reset there. RC Soldier hits 3 people. Seismic Crash, King Bomb. Where did this Bomb King come from? How did he make his way back there without being noticed?
Just hanging out.
Pounced right up in the air. Spexy with a beautiful outplay on the Ludador. He gets nothing for his ultimate, and just a base set of cooldowns will allow that kill to come through.
The only thing I can think is that Grok team didn't kill him and maybe just assumed he ran back. And he was just sitting there the whole time, and he's just like, my day will come. Finally goes for the ult, and then, oof.
There's the Evil Mojo, the Dread Serpent for self-peel. Tried to get the Dome Shield off. Frankly, would have been, actually, wow, I think he did. See, that's one of the things in Droxus, Grover, Barrick. These are champions that come to mind that have very quick wind-up in terms of when their ultimate charge is consumed versus animation time that you can actually get effectiveness out of it. Like, the second Barrick starts speaking, his ultimate charge is used, but the shield doesn't deploy till, you know, half a second, whatever it is later. Same thing with like Accursed Arms and Grover Whirlwinds. You'll hear the cue, the audio start to play, but they just die immediately and they lose all their ult charge.
You kill them in the right area. You say you dropped a turret, you dropped probably the biggest thing in your kit as Barrick, and there you are, 4%. Have fun with that one.
It's rough.
Sit back at the beginning. You have to respawn. That's a, I want to say, a kind of a tilting moment on the right side, something that they had trouble dealing with. Grok team did earlier on Jaguar Falls, but this time they don't seem to be too worried about it.
That's why low HP Dome Shields can be such a risk here. Trickzord looking to get in on the Inara. Kaninas falling down. Great Dredge Anchor pulls Inara into probably her grave as Maeve lands the last couple of knives. 2 more on the Pip. Would have been good, but misses 4. Won't maybe have the time to slay this poor Volpine out in slow-mo. Trickzord with a fireball gets it done. 1-1 on the scoreboard. That's Ice Mines, though. That's what we've come to expect. 4 ultimates for the, or 3, excuse me, for the Grok team. 88% and 90% respectively for the Dread Serpent and Midnight that are currently not available.
I know it's a tasteful slow-mo there to kind of kill it off.
Yeah.
Just one of those areas where it's just like, you know what's going to happen, but you get to see it exactly the way you would want to. Trickzord at 5, 1, and 5 right now has been a huge asset. And again, I'm looking kind of towards like the Cassie, towards Aspexy, these performances, and I want to say the way things went in the past few games, it kind of feels like there's Trickzord or Aspexy doing something, but only one of them can actually be ahead at any one time.
There can only be one. The Highlander. The Grok teamer. And I like what Trickzord's been able to accomplish here as well. Fernando is very good on Ice Mines, though. Just all of these corridors are about the size of Fireball, so you pretty much can't miss. He's able to get a lot of effective there. You can see Scorching out the Shaolin, putting 760 damage onto the backliner. The Immortal is going to lock down this passive, and as long as his team wins something somewhere else on the map, and they do, they should be in charge of this fight.
Good arrow, gets rid of Aspexy in the air, but unfortunately that's going to be the only thing he gets rid of. Dredge Anchor going to be able to pull him in. One more shot from Makoa, finds it, almost got the trade, but I feel like almost for a Makoa, it's like, well, I was at 1,000 health, you were at 50 health.
Right. Ancient Rage available as well if you really needed it, and that's a huge ultimate to save through this first objective fight. They have the Dread Serpent as well. Grok team, barring any catastrophic failures, should be able to bring this fight back.
Just pops out in the nick of time. Barely towards the tail end there, but Augusto stays alive. Ancient Raid comes out immediately into the King Bomb's face and just starts wailing on him.
I don't care that he died and accomplished nothing. That was sick. I'm going to just pop my ultimate and headbutt a King Bomb. You don't mind?
Knocks him back, too. Well, the way it looks like because of the animation of King Bomb, and it just looks like he slams Bomb King the hell out of there. Just like, stop it.
What a brave man. What a brave turtle.
Still keeps moving. Gets a little bit of damage at least, but not a lot of kills, not any real space. The team picks that up afterward. But again, as long as he looks badass doing it, he doesn't matter.
Street Justice going to quickly eviscerate Inara. Spexy credited with that kill. RC Soldier on a 15 streak because he's 1-1, but 9 assists at the start of this round. He's pecking people down from a distance. You mentioned the synergy between his poke and the Street Justice Mave, the burst damage there. Finding some daggers onto the high ground. Ludador, so you want to take this 1v1. Spexy doesn't have a ton of cooldowns to play with right now, so I think it's wise that he just backs off.
Ludador just taking a ton of damage right there. Knocked back from the Poppy Bomb, looking to try and get away. One more set of daggers, and the Spexy's going to be able to find that one. Takes a little time. I feel like that's happened a couple times this game where it's like one hit. All you have to do is hit one dagger, and it's just a couple of shots that are off the mark, and it will, in occasion, change the way the fight goes, but in a lot of these scenarios, it's just taking a little more time.
Barrick bowling balls himself around. No kills coming through just yet. Payload at an awkward spot. Pretty much the premier choke on Ice Mines. These next kills are going to mean a lot. Midnight Pop looking like they want to win this fight. The Grok team committing hard. Now Dread Serpent as well. The scout comes through. They are all in. Scouting out the Heat Haze is big, this Shaolin. He's invisible somewhere. 2 quick bolts from the crossbow put him down. A 5-for-0 sweep. 3 ultimates is the cost for the Grok team's offensive success.
Still have Immortal, which has been big, although they do get rid of a Heat Haze, they do get rid of a Seismic Crash, so you don't have as much, I want to say, to worry about. King Bomb, I think, is going to be the big one coming into this round. You don't really have the Ancient Rage just yet to try and headbutt it one more time. Don't know if Makoa's going to be feeling that. He's at 73%.
Yeah, don't know if you run that play back.
I wouldn't try it.
If you got it, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, you got to be that offensive lineman for your team sometimes. Just
take it.
Block people out. Do what you can. Makos is better me than my poor back lines. I'm not even going to get stunned by this. I'll jump on this grenade. Rejuvenate 2 online for Augusto, 3 for Tricksword, and 1 for RC Soldier. So everyone trying to contribute to these healing numbers. It's starting to make a difference on the charts. Granted, it's Maldamba versus a Mega Potion Pip. It's easier to out-heal the Pip than it is for being the Pip trying to out-heal the Maldamba, I will say.
And it's in that interesting position where Perfect Line have 1 Rejuvenate on Inara, and that's it. So you have a lot more healing coming down for Grok team, and I think that's going to make a huge difference. Already Augusto picking up 1 kill. There's going to be the Immortal. There's a Dome Shield, but is it actually going to be able to accomplish that much?
Awkward little interaction there on the windowsill, throwing in the daggers. Cooldown's available, so Maeve's not too worried about taking some damage here. Pounce blocked by the wall, up over the top, wants to get this damage through to Inara. It'll come through. RC Soldier with a double. Spexy picks one up as well. 69 and climbing on the objective. Grok team seconds away from their set victory.
Just a couple of hiccups throughout the entire thing, but 90%, and with the way this is looking, no Grumpy Bomb connect. RC Soldier gets aggressive. No one can touch it.
Maldamba there,
doing a little.
As is common practice. Grok team, congratulations.
He had the reindeer snake.
Oh, did he?
I love that snake.
It's a beautiful compliment to Ice Mines as well. The Wicker Man skin, if you didn't know, I mean, I'm pretty good at answering that question on trivia. Sorry, fresh win there for Corp. No, I'm playing. Great win there for Grok team. And
there's like a slash right here now.
It's rough. Sorry to reopen that one for you. We'll head to the bracket one more time. Remember, guys, everyone that made it to the semifinals today, Princess of the Realm, Grok team, Paratus Gaming, and Perfect Line have all qualified for the phase finals. They just have to play for seeding at this point. Grok team will qualify highest. I believe that makes them 5th seed for the phase finals. That is happening next week. No longer open bracket. Everyone's played in to make it there. That's going to do it for us, though. On this side of things, the PGS is done for the day. But before we go, we want to talk a little bit about our biggest event of the year.
We've got HRX again,
right.
But it's not HRX 2018 this time. Now it's at DreamHack Atlanta, which is a little bit, I want to say, bigger for everybody involved. Because we get to be now at a huge venue. We've got World Championship for Smite and Paladins, and the console for Smite, as well as the console wars here for us.
I mean, there are people that are going to miss that community feel. I think of the comment where it's like, if this is our event, everyone here is Smite or Paladins or Hi-Rez. But I mean, to be honest, we were kind of outgrowing it, I think. You add one more game with the way Realm Royale is going right now, that's going to need a lot of space, I think, to have some fun with at HRX. You add one more game, and we're out of room at the Cobb Energy Center. So I think DreamHack is going to be the more suitable venue for us to grow into. It's like when your parents buy you, big clothes when you're a kid so you can grow into them. That's what we've done, I think, by moving to the DreamHack venue. Bigger audience, I think, to get involved as well. But like we said, that's going to do it for the PGS today, guys. PPL is coming up later. That starts at 3 p.m., which is about 2 hours or so from now. You can watch on the exclusive Facebook platform. So thank you for watching the PGS, wherever you may be watching it. And we will see you all at 3 p.m.